Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is Wednesday morning and another beautiful day right here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. What up, Upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. What's shaking, world? Great to be back with y'all one more time again. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure exclusively mine, of course, directly across from me on the other side of the glass, the man in charge of the broadcast, the quarterback of this team. He is the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate. He is the great one, the professor of perfection, the wizard of wave himself, Lonzo, over here swatting at what I'm assuming was a bug, because if not, he's having hallucinations as the show starts.
No, it was a joke. If you think about it, you'll get it.
Oh.
There you go.
Got it.
I was just that was a joke for the stream. You know, it didn't have to be on the hey everybody, so glad to be here today. It's Wednesday.
Of course. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. It's midweek. Rolling towards a long weekend. 4th of July weekend this weekend, celebrating a little independence. Gotta love that. Good long weekend, 3-day coming up. Your boy has acquired tickets. I will be in Atlanta Monday night with the fam. How about this? A little 4th of July night Braves action. We got Atlanta Braves baseball, big fireworks show afterwards. Can't think of a much better way to celebrate the 4th than a little America's pastime with America's team.
You know what you need? You need to order a hot dog while you're there.
I need you to know, Zoe.
Because it is a ballpark, so I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah. No, I need you to know what happened yesterday. So yesterday, the Greenville Liberty, the USLW League, the women's professional side right here in the great upstate of South Carolina, the Greenville Liberty had their final home regular season match of the year, taking on Asheville City SC. By the way, 5-1 win for the ladies, locks up their spot in the USLW League playoff. We're going to have Coach Julie Carlson join us either tomorrow or Friday to talk a little women's football with her. So, you know, I've been calling play-by-play for the Liberty this year. It's been an honor. I appreciate Doug and Joe and Chris and all our friends over there at the Liberty/Triumph ownership group for asking me to do it. But I'm calling play-by-play. And I'm about 5 minutes into the game, Zoe. And, it's a really interesting start. Asheville City SC draws a deserved red card 30 seconds into the match. Carly Thatcher, who has been in fuego for the Liberty, nets a goal early. Liberty up 1-0. The stadium's rocking. Really good crowd last night for the Liberty. And then as I'm on the air, my phone goes off. Now, you know, I'm calling play-by-play, so I can't really pay attention to it because I've got to focus on the game. But my phone goes off. And then my phone goes off again, and then my phone goes off again, and then my phone goes off again, and it goes off about 4 times in a matter of 34 seconds. Now, ordinarily, if somebody is dinging me via text that many times in a row, something's wrong. But they're not in a position to be able to call me, right? So I'm like, all right, next break in action, I'm going to let my color guy, Easton, who did a phenomenal job, I'm going to let Easton take over the call for a second. I'm going to check my phone because I need to make sure that, you know, nobody's in the hospital, nobody's bleeding out, nothing that I need to go, okay, I got to pause this game for a genuine emergency here and let Easton take over. And I check my phone, and I've got 4 consecutive text messages, leading off with our friend P1 Keegan and 3 other members of the Reedy River Riot, the Triumph/Liberty support section. And I get like 4 texts in 30 seconds, all from members of the supporters section. And my thought is, oh, damn, I missed something, right? I must have missed something. What happened? Did something happen on the pitch that I missed and they're trying to alert me to it? Did I miss a player going off? Like, what did I miss?
Wow, this is effective because I will send you like 12 texts in a row and you still will ignore me. So this is amazing.
Again, I see them. But if I do not respond immediately to them, I will forget to go back and respond later because I'm bad at life. All right? It just is what it is, though. You're used to it at this point, let's be honest.
Or you know that I'm trolling. So, but
also
anyway.
that. So I get 4 text messages from the Liberty, from the riot at the Liberty match yesterday, and all of them contain some variation of this picture, Lonzo, being served at the Liberty game yesterday.
That's not a hot dog.
The picture that I received from
I don't see
people,
I see it's a menu item, right? You're
It's
just
a
showing the
menu
menu.
item, correct.
Okay, all right.
is a menu item from one of the food trucks. You know, it's kind of fun. And if you haven't been out to a Liberty or Triumph game, I 100% invite you to come out to tonight's game. The Triumph have a home match tonight. They'll be kicking off around 7 o'clock. That one's going to be at Legacy Early College. One of the cool things that happens, though, is there are multiple food trucks from around the upstate that are parked on the backside of the bleachers. So not only can you come, knock down a couple of $2 beers before the match starts, but during the match you can walk. They've got a food truck, Zoe, that has a brick pizza oven built into the truck itself.
That sounds really cool.
It's phenomenal. They got taco trucks. You can get street tacos. Well, one of them is a barbecue truck. And this barbecue truck on its menu puts up the menu item, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but it puts up the menu item, all beef hot dog. And what does it come with as a default? Mustard, chili, and onions.
See, here's a problem. This is I'm sure it's delicious, but this is poor parenting, because what it comes down to is when children are born in this area, they are, son, let me tell you something. You got to love them Tigers. You got to love that Duke's mayonnaise. And a hot dog comes with chili and onions and mustard, because we believe in shortchanging ourselves with everything we do. We could charge extra for that chili, but we don't want to make money. I expect you to do the same thing, son.
Hey, dig it, look. I want you to know, I walked over and I got one of these.
What a missed opportunity to make extra money. I don't get it's so un-American.
By the way, just for the record, for those of you that are like, I don't know if I want to go to a game or not tonight, all beef hot dog, mustard, chili, and onions, a.k.a. chili dog.
It sounds delicious and probably is.
It was.
But they should charge extra for the chili, because that's a chili dog.
$2. $2 at the game.
Should be $3, because it's a chili dog.
I know, you could have gone $2.75 and charged 75 cents for chili on top, because I'm going to go, hell yeah, I want a chili dog. It was nice and cool last night, overcast, no rain, just nice and chilly.
So what happens if you order a chili dog? Are they going to do that lame thing where the people talk about, putting chili on it, which is
you actually cost yourself food items by requesting extra?
It makes no sense at all. But is that what happens?
I don't know, because I walked over and I said, I would like a chili dog. And the guy goes, hot dog? And I was like, yeah, chili dog. And I pointed at the menu. He's like, okay. And he didn't, and I respect this, he didn't confront me over it. He was like, all right, I get what you're doing, bro. Like, I don't know that he knew who I was, but he's like, I get what you're doing. That being said, I would like to point out that we have reached a level of reputation amongst Greenville, South Carolina, that at a game last night, I had not one, not two, not three, but 4 different people independently of each other see that and send me a picture of it via text to make sure I was aware that that is what a hot dog is at a Liberty game.
I'm curious. So obviously the chili's free. So on all these establishments that give you the chili free, you can walk into those places and go, I just would like some chili, because it's free. Because you're putting it free on the hot dog, that means it's free, right? I just want some chili.
Would they otherwise, if I went over and said, I would like a hot dog, no chili, does that make it $1 instead of $2? Right? Does that knock it down? Because I don't want the chili.
If it does, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. If you knock,
I'm still getting, because chili dog, listen, for the record, chili dogs are superior to hot dogs.
Without a doubt, they are, as long as the chili's good.
Right. Chili dog is superior
If the chili's
to hot dog.
too greasy, though, and the grease like drips off the end, I'm not for that.
Sure. But a good chili dog is superior to a good hot dog. I'm just saying, it's a chili dog.
By the way,
I love that I'm at a point now. By the way, just to give them a shout out, my man Skrilla popped into the Facebook chat. He said it is not a barbecue truck. It is Kendall's Grill from Berea. So Kendall's Grill, respect.
It's Berea.
Berea?
I'm just helping you.
No, I appreciate it. I haven't been there yet. I don't even know where that is.
In Ohio, it's Berea.
In Florida, it's Berea.
Yeah,
Louisiana, it's Berea, but it's Berea here.
But here it's Berea.
Just
and
like here, hot dogs and chili
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
I'm getting it.
It's different.
Berea. Where
Yeah.
is Berea? Where is that? Do you know?
You were asking the wrong person.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Where is Berea?
I've been there before.
I have not. Shout out to Kendall's Grill in Berea. Hit him up.
I
Grab yourself a chili
I
dog.
recorded an album in Berea, so I've been
So
there.
you have physically been there for a while.
I've been there, but
don't know where it is.
I just if I had to get in my car and drive there right now, I couldn't do it.
Nice.
I think it's that way.
Sure, why not? Shout out to Kendall's Grill. Go hit them up. Make sure you get a chili dog. Tell them Rob Brown sent you. All right? Trey said, I'm confident that more people will want to go to the games now that they know, now that we know how they serve hot dogs. I'm in. Coming out tonight, Trey. Triumph game tonight at 7 o'clock. Liberty was last night. It was their last home match, but they are in the USLW League playoffs. They are one of, as far as performances go, the top 4 teams in the W League. So we are very hopeful and confident that they will earn at least one USLW League playoff game. There are going to be 3 rounds, quarters, semis, and then the finals. We are hoping, because they are going to be regionally based, we are hoping that the Liberty will get at least one, preferably 2, of the quarter and the semifinal matches in the USLW League playoffs. As soon as those are announced, I will let you know. But now that I know our buddy Chris Lewis is texting, because he has just let us know that Kendall's Grill is maybe 5 minutes away from Legacy Early College, which means I can go grab lunch there before the Triumph game tonight. Heck to the yeah. I got to grab Coach Carlson from you this week, Chris, because we need to talk about her squad making it to the W League playoff in their inaugural season. Congratulations to the Greenville Liberty. Very, very proud of them. What an absolute effort. And if you have not come out to one of their shows yet, you're missing out. You're missing out. If you have not been to a match yet for the Liberty, it is a blast. Not only are they phenomenal as a soccer team, but here's something that's kind of interesting. One of their players, Megan Bornkamp. Bornkamp has been phenomenal for this team. She actually missed the match last night. Want to know why? Because Megan Bornkamp is currently captaining the U.S. Women's National U23 team in Europe in a couple of matches. That's an Olympic caliber squad, right? And she's all playing captain. One of our own from right here at the Greenville Liberty against India the other day in a friendly was the captain of the U.S. Women's National Team U23. You're going to see her wearing the crest for the big girls team one day in the future. I almost guarantee it. You've got members on this team from the Clemson team. You've got members on this team from Furman, from other squads around the upstate. They are good. I'm talking real good. Real good. And I was talking yesterday on the broadcast calling that game that the reason that as a soccer fan I'm so damn excited to be a part of the upstate soccer community is because it takes 2 things for a soccer community to thrive. It takes 2 things to get the fans to really gel, to rally. Number 1 is you got to produce talent. And this area has been consistently producing talent. You got the Clemson men's national team, or men's soccer team winning national championships. You've got great ACC and SEC play top to bottom from all of the soccer schools in the Carolinas, pardon me. You've got great soccer at the collegiate level. Now you've got a USL League One men's team, the Greenville Triumph, that in 3 years of play has gone to the finals 3 times and brought home a trophy one. You've got a USLW League team that in their inaugural season is one of the best 4 at least teams in the league, maybe more, and is going to be hosting some playoff games, at least one, I'm hoping, here at Legacy Early. But the other thing you got to have is you've got to have foresight by community members to buy in. The Irwins have done that. The businesses that have partnered with the Irwins to ensure that these teams have sponsors, have support, have been there. And when you put all of those minds together, you get a thriving soccer community. It is fantastic. And if you are not a part of it yet, I implore you, I encourage you, come out to the match tonight. I will be there. You should be there. 7 o'clock this evening, Legacy Early, Greenville Triumph at home. We talked to Jake Keegan last week. He was all geeked up about it. And if you needed a little bit more reason, tonight is 90s night at Legacy Early College. Lonzo can break out the Zubaz pants tonight for a little soccer if he wanted to. You still have Zubaz, don't lie. You absolutely do.
I don't know what
You
that is.
absolutely
I
have
know
Zubaz.
dude, I'm almost 54. The 90s, I mean, yeah, the 90s were still, I was
You
still
were in
pretty
your
young.
30s. Zubaz were
Actually,
big.
no, in the 90s, I wouldn't have been in my 30s. I was in my 20s. But,
That's even better.
yeah, I know.
You
but,
definitely had
but,
Zubaz.
But I was very poor. It sounds expensive. What is Zubaz?
Zubaz were like the almost like MC Hammer pants, but they were like patterned, like zebra striped and stuff.
No, that's
Look
not.
up Zubaz pants. You'll see what I'm talking
That's
about.
not me. I don't do things to make people look at me.
Kevin's on the phone line because Lonzo's decided to lie boldface on the radio. Kevin, welcome in, big dog.
What's happening, fellas?
What's up, guy?
Oh, man, going ham like y'all boys at 9 a.m.
We do what we can, my guy.
I'm telling you, though. Hey, man, Berea is the home of Jamel Kelly that played wide receiver for the Gamecocks in the early 90s.
Really?
But I tell you, it's right down White Horse Road, and if you blink too fast,
You drive
you'll
right
go
through
right
it.
by it, and you'll
I
be
got
in
you.
traveler's rest.
I got you. Let's see. Population 14,295 according to the 2010 census. Yeah, Wikipedia's got not a whole heck of a lot to it. Does have a library, apparently. So there's that.
Yeah, got a library and got a clock down that way that's out this world.
You can't.
I think it's called a super clock or something like that, but it's good eating down there now.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I may pop down that way this afternoon to grab a little chili dog before the soccer match tonight, Kevin.
Hey, man, I love the fact that I've been listening to you as long as I have, and the chili dog is still at the top of the list. I love it, man. I love it.
For
I got something for you. I'm going down to Clearwater in August. Where should I go when I get down there?
Oh, see, Clearwater's a little bit out of my hood. I was a North Florida kid. Let me do this, Kevin. Call me back on Friday. I got a couple of friends that live in Clearwater. Shoot me a text or something on Friday. I'll have some spots for you.
Say no more. I got you, bro.
You do it. Do it. Kevin, my man, good to talk to you, big dog. Appreciate it.
All right.
Berea getting some love on the show
Berea.
today.
It's Berea.
I did it again.
It's okay.
Berea getting some love on the show.
I'm here to help you, but the Zubats, no, man. I would not. No, no.
Lonzo.
I mean,
absolutely want to rock Zubaz.
Dude, I'd wear them now.
Yes, I know. You'd have worn them then too.
No, not then. No, I would not.
Do you remember? Did you ever see Napoleon Dynamite?
Yes.
You remember Rex Kwon Do in those American flag pants?
It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
Those are Zubaz. For those of you that know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was all like animal prints and wild patterns and whatnot.
Trey points out that a lot of wrestlers wore them. So
yeah,
as soon as I saw them, I recognized them for that. So what you're saying is you wore them.
No, I was like 12 in the 90s. I wasn't allowed to have Zubaz. I didn't get to start making my own fashion choices until Jinkos showed up.
So your parents are like, no.
Yeah, too much, Rob.
Okay.
Too much, little Rob.
All right.
Yeah.
I would have been working at a grocery store, barely making enough money for rent. I probably wore the same jeans for like 5 years. No, I didn't buy any of those.
Texture says Berea is Western Greenville, just a few minutes from Legacy. Yeah, I may hit it up today. We'll see. Fan, guys, I love the show, but you have got to back off your communist take on a hot dog. A hot dog, by default, has mustard, chili, and onion, as proven at, hang on, I got to find the rest of that text because it is important that I read that one.
It's proven that because they say it here, so it must be so. It's not that way anywhere else, but we are the center of the universe.
As proven at the hot dog truck.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with the food truck, but it is what it is. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, yesterday, the ACC announced literally minutes before Lonzo and I went off the air. In fairness, I'm glad they did it because ordinarily those types of news stories break at 12:02 p.m.
Yeah, we got to break it.
So we got to break the story.
Did do that.
But now we get to opine on that story. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, despite lots of takes to the contrary, this scheduling model is awesome. It is great. I love it. It's spectacular. It sets up the ACC perfectly for success. It is going to be copied by the other leagues down the line. And I'll tell you why when we come back. He is shaking his head. He is Lonzo. I am Rob Brown, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate.
Where's my...
All right.
Trey, I hope you're all right. You look like you
Yeah,
stroked
Trey,
out or something, dude.
Are you good over there, buddy? Did you fall face first into your keyboard, my guy? It was we got butt texted. The show got butt texted. Happens to the best of us.
Download the Space Channel app on your connected TVs and mobile devices. Just go to the App Store and search Space Channel. Do it now. It's free.
Space Channel, front row seat to the final frontier.
This feature sponsored by Simple Green and the Simple Green family of cleaning products. The safer choice. Visit simplegreen.com.
This report is sponsored by Audible. This summer, fire up your imagination with Audible. Listen to comedies, thrillers, mysteries, and more. It's everything you want in audio entertainment, all in the Audible app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Get in the game on the front.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The ACC announced yesterday, just after we went off the air, actually I should say just before we went off the air, that starting in 2023, they would be changing their scheduling model for the sport of college football. And it was a big time announcement. For those of you that missed it, and I can't imagine anybody listening to this station and this show did, but for those of you who missed the announcement, the new scheduling model is a 3-5-5 structure. Every team in the ACC is going to have 3 teams that they play every single year. For Clemson, those 3 teams are FSU, Georgia Tech, and NC State. Every team will have 3 schools they play every year. 1 year, there will be 5 schools from the rest of the ACC on their schedule. They will play those 5 schools, either home and away. The next year, they will play the same 5 schools, but they will rotate to play the opposite, home or away. So 1 year, you'll play teams A, B, and C, which you'll play A, B, and C every year. Teams D, E, F, G, H, you will play 2 of them at home, 3 of them away 1 year. The next year, you'll play D, E, F, G, H again. The ones you played at home, you'll play away. The ones you played away at home. After you have flip-flopped playing those teams home and away, the next year number 3 in this model, you will then switch to the other 5 schools in the ACC. You will play those 5 home and away 1 year, and then the next year you will play them the alternate. If you played them at home in year 3, you'll play them on the road in year 4. And what this creates is a couple of situations. Number 1, it creates a situation in which every player who plays all 4 years of their eligibility will play every other ACC school, both home and away, during their 4 years of eligibility. So if you stay all 4 years, you will play all 13 other ACC schools at their stadium and at yours over your 4 years of eligibility should you stay the entire time. The second thing it does is it gets rid of the Atlantic and Coastal divisions. Now, I heard the argument yesterday that we love divisions because it creates these rivalries, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's overrated. I think the concept of divisions is overrated, right? Because here's the reality. You play in the division. You play every team in your division. Sure, I mean, I guess you can call it a rivalry if you want. Hey, Zoe, Clemson and Florida State have it used to be much better, but Clemson and Florida State have a rivalry in the ACC, don't they?
Clemson has no rival in the ACC.
Okay, they used to. When Florida State, up until the post-Jimbo Fisher years, Florida State, for a while, it was FSU and Clemson during the Bowden Bowl eras, through the Jimbo Fisher days, until Jimbo left and Willie Taggart came in and tanked the program. Here's a fun question for you. Are FSU and Clemson in the same division in the ACC? What division is Florida State in the ACC?
All right. See, this is a rough question for me because I don't like the ACC and I don't like Clemson to the point where I don't care. And because I don't care, I don't know. And it's I know it sounds like, well, you are a sports show. You're supposed to know all of the. No. If I don't like something, I don't care. And for a long time, the ACC's been so bad at football, it hasn't mattered.
So
anybody else, if anybody in the ACC goes undefeated other than Clemson, are they in the playoff?
I mean, if they're undefeated.
No, they're not.
They're
not.
undefeated? They
They're
are.
not because they're not Clemson, and so they're not in the playoff.
Any Power 5 team that goes undefeated goes to the playoffs. Any Power 5 team that's undefeated, I don't care what conference they're in, goes to the playoffs. Now, here's why I like dumping the divisions. I like dumping the divisions for a couple of reasons. Number one, by dumping the divisions, you basically ensure that you are as close as possible to the two best ACC teams playing for the ACC championship. All right? We have seen Wake Forest play for an ACC championship game. We have seen Duke play in an ACC championship game. Now, I don't mean to disrespect Wake Forest or Duke, but was Wake or Duke the best teams in the second best teams in the ACC the years they played? No. The second best team in the ACC both of those years came out of the same division as the best team in the ACC. You don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
Now, the two best teams in the ACC will play each other every year, all but assuredly. That's good.
All right, Clemson and the next team, whoever it is that they're going to beat, is going to play. And I think this is new age thinking by people like Rob who don't like structure, don't like walls, don't like tradition, want to tear everything down and make it chaos. There's nothing wrong with tradition. Tradition's okay. Tradition is all right. Tradition is not your enemy. In this case, I've heard it said that others will follow this. Nobody's following this. The ACC,
Pac-12 is either already doing it or is voting to do it.
If the Pac-12 is doing it, wow, that's another really significant conference.
Long bet.
It's two insignificant conferences. When the SEC does it, then it matters. If the Big Ten does it, then it matters.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, both of those conferences do it in the next 3 years.
We'll see. See. I hope you're wrong. I really do, because this is a horrible idea.
Why? Why is it a horrible idea?
It's horrible. There's nothing wrong with tradition. There's nothing wrong with doing things the way it's been done. It's thinking like that, and the smile on Rob's face of, you old man, wanting to say boomer even though I'm not. I'm a Gen Xer. But there's nothing wrong with structure. Structure's a good thing sometimes.
There's still a structure.
Structure
is
the only team this benefits is Clemson.
How?
It benefits last year it would have benefited them.
Yeah, because they were still the best team in the ACC.
Right. This only benefits Clemson.
Why?
Because
I would argue that it benefits everybody because now
Does it?
Clemson in the ACC
Under the
championship
structure,
will always play the second best ACC team.
Under the structure, and I don't remember Clemson's exact record last year. I know they lost, I think, 2 games. Under the structure, would Clemson have been playing for the ACC championship last year?
I would have to go back and look at who else would, but my belief is yes.
Because it's one of the first years that they haven't played for it in a really long time. So it seems to me that this wouldn't shock me if it was contrived at Clemson and it's all about Clemson.
It's not all about Clemson. What this is about is setting the ACC up for further expansion,
Which
right?
they have that kind of power in the ACC, and they should, because they've been dominant for a long time.
This is not a pro Clemson move. This is a pro ACC move for a few reasons. Number one, it ensures that the ACC is sending its best every year, right? The ACC is sending its best two to the ACC championship in Charlotte, which means that the ACC has the best chance to send its best team to the playoff if that comes into play. The second thing that it does is it opens the floor for further expansion down the line. Because as of right now, with the 3-5-5 model, the ACC has 8 conference games for every team. If they add 2 more teams or 4 more teams and they go from 14 to 16 or 14 to 18, which at this point feels inevitable down the line, it allows you to add one more conference game, and we go to a 3-6-6 model. So you would play 3 and then 6 1 year, and then the other 6 2 years later. Now you got 9 conference games. And if they expand to 20 or 22, you go to a 3-7-7 model. Now you got 10 and still have 2 out-of-conference games down the line. It opens the ACC up for expansion, which is what the ACC wanted. It also creates a situation where the ACC sends its best every year. I am not saying there is anything wrong with tradition. I am saying when something can be done better, but you don't do it better because tradition says, no, we do it the worst way because we've always done it the worst way. Tradition for the sake of tradition in the face of positive progress is bad.
All right, I just don't see where this is progress. I get everything you said. I'm not opposed to about changing things to make things better. I don't see how this makes things better. I don't. You're just shuffling things around. Hey, everybody gets to play everybody. Who cares? I mean, in the end, the best teams are still going to be the best teams. But some teams are going to get an easier road, especially if you just happen to be playing a couple gimmies every year. You guarantee victories every year.
Here's the thing. You're in the old way it was done. If one division was up, let's look at the Southeastern Conference for an example, right? Right now, the SEC East is down with the exception of Georgia, right? Do we agree? Georgia's a good football team.
Yes, we agree.
Nobody else in the SEC East is a playoff caliber team. Florida's not. Tennessee's not. South Carolina's not. Nobody else in the SEC East, Vanderbilt, none of those are playoff teams, right?
As of now, before this season starts, we don't know what's going to happen this year. But yes, as of now, yes.
The SEC East is down as a whole. The SEC West is a juggernaut. Alabama is good. Texas A&M is good. Auburn wasn't as good as I'd have liked last year, but they were close, right? LSU was down last year, but up before last year was a juggernaut. Over the past 5 years, the SEC West has been a juggernaut, and the SEC East has very much not. So Alabama didn't necessarily play the second best team in the SEC for any of their SEC championships. And when they did, and they played Georgia, they had a fight on their hands, right? They had a fight on their hands. This makes sure that the best 2 teams play for a conference title, which is the way it should be, right? There's been a big conversation. It effectively is a 1-game playoff for the best of the best, right? The 2 best teams go. But like I said, it is more set up to help the success of the Atlantic Coast Conference when it's time for further expansion, which is coming down the pipe. The other thing that I like is I am not stuck, for instance, watching Alabama play Ole Miss every year as if that's a game I care about, right? Alabama's going to smoke Ole Miss every year. So when Ole Miss and Alabama play every year, last year Alabama went to the Swamp. They went and played Florida at the Swamp. You know when the last time Alabama played at Florida was? 10 years ago since Bama went to Florida.
You know who's not upset about that? Them playing them all the time? Alabama fans.
Yeah, because they got a couple of gimmies. They're still going to get gimmies because they still get gimmies from both conferences. I mean, there's still gimmies at the bottom divisions of both sides of this. They're still going to play them. But now you play everybody.
You bring the SEC up as an example when the SEC hasn't even acted like they were going to do this.
Well, the SEC just finished their spring meetings, and this was topic of conversation number 1. Remember, we had the conversation about going to a pod structure. This is a pod structure. It's just instead of pods, the ACC said you got 3 permanent opponents. Now, it's not like you 3 play each other round robin every year, and you 3 play each other round robin every year. It's you have your 3. Clemson has FSU, Georgia Tech, and NC State. Florida State, on the other hand, has Clemson, of course, but alongside Clemson, Florida State also has Miami, obvious rivalry in the Sunshine State, and Syracuse. Why Syracuse? I don't know, but that's where they got stuck. Miami has Florida State, sure, but they also have Boston College, a private school rivalry in that one, and they've also got Louisville, which has been a de facto rivalry the last couple of years as both of those teams have tried to find footing. North Carolina has Duke, NC State, and Virginia. Why Virginia instead of Wake Forest? I don't know. but they've got their pod. Whereas NC State has, as we mentioned, Clemson, but they've also got Duke and North Carolina, right? The rivalries are built, so these are de facto pods, if you will, but then everybody plays everybody else. And I think that's spectacular for the second reason of everybody gets to test themselves against everybody else, right? You get to test yourself if you are Virginia Tech. You got Pitt, Virginia, and Wake Forest. But you're going to play Clemson 2 years. And you're going to play Florida State 2 years. And you're going to play Pitt 2 years. You're going to play these different teams every couple of years and rotate through. So your franchise, your program, gets to test itself against all the other programs in your conference over a rotation of 4 years. Instead of playing the same teams over and over and over every year, right? And I heard somebody yesterday talking about, oh, it's gonna kill off divisional rivalries. Divisional rivalries aren't real rivalries. Do you know what we would call divisional rivalries if they were real rivalries? We'd call them rivalries. But they're not rivalries. They're just, you got to play this team every year because the conference says so.
You know, it could hurt recruiting to a degree because if you're trying to bring a kid in who always wanted to beat this certain team, you'd have to say, sorry, we don't play them for another 4 years.
Right, but
sorry. You don't get a chance to play them.
2 years. You play them every 2 years.
I thought you said 4.
Every 2 years.
All right.
You rotate teams every 2 years. So this year, you would say we got, and I'm going to make this up, you're Clemson. So you've got Florida State, Georgia Tech, and NC State every year, right? So in the first year, you're going to play Boston College, Duke, Louisville, Miami, and North Carolina. You're going to play them home 1 year and away 1 year. Then in year 3 of your career, you're going to play North Carolina, Pitt, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, and Wake Forest. And you're going to play them both home and away. So now it's the opposite of that. Because let's say I'm a kid that wants to go to, let's say I'm a kid that wants to go to Clemson. And Clemson, and this kid, but for whatever reason, he really wants a chance to play Miami. Well, under the old one, he may not play Miami during the course of 4 years. He might not. But under this way, not only is he going to play Miami twice, but he's going to play him once at home and once away. I think it's a great recruiting pitch.
Or thanks to NIL and transfer portal, he could just go to whatever team plays them during that time. And then when they don't play him anymore, he can move over to another team so he can continue to play them.
Right. Now he doesn't have to do that. Thank you very much for helping my argument even further. I appreciate it.
So lame. This is gonna hurt the game so bad.
Disagree entirely.
And when it does, I feel bad for you because you are a champion of something that's going to hurt the game.
No, you're saying that because you're a guy who likes tradition for the sake of tradition. And I respect that. Tradition is not always bad, but this is a better way. And keeping the divisional way, I heard, and I forgive me for bringing him into the conversation, but I heard Mark describe divisions as the fabric of college football. Yeah, I'm not worried about the fabric of college football. Sometimes
by the
material
way,
is better suited.
Mark is right. And yes, I've said that a ton of times, so don't act shocked, listeners. Mark is right. He absolutely is. It's one of the things that makes college football college football. You take that away, you're chipping away at what it was. And I know you want things new, just like NIL, chipped away at things, what things were, just like transfer portal. It's just become something.
The way it's done. Why is it bad?
It's just becoming the NFL, and some people love college football for college.
What do you mean the NFL has divisions? This is more progressive than the NFL. The NFL has divisions.
I think progressive is the proper term. You're right.
Uh-oh, progressive equals bad. Rob said progressive, this is bad.
Steven is right, though. You've gotten louder and louder and louder during this entire conversation to the point where I've had to, you see my hand on the fader the entire time.
Because you and a couple of texters are like, change is bad. No, change is not bad. Change can be bad, but it is not inherently bad. Let's take a break. Back after this. Your thoughts are welcome. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663, or text us your thoughts on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with the word fan. Back after this on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Well, let's say the only time loud is bad is when you start leaning into your mic and it starts to distort a little bit. I can't fix that.
I don't do that.
you did that from for the first time in recent memory. You did that. It's like, okay.
On the fan upstate. In Major League Baseball, Matt Olson goes yard twice, including a go-ahead solo homer in the eighth to lead the Atlanta Braves to a 5-3 win over the Philadelphia Phillies. KJ Minter scores his first save in place of injured closer Kenley Jansen.
So the JRR Tolkien account I've told you about that I've earned follower number 57. Yep.
Yes.
Actually, no, I'm 56 because he unfollowed somebody else to give me room. Has just tweeted out to his 143.6 thousand followers. In Middle Earth, would hobbits serve hot dogs with or without chili? At the Rob Brown Show wishes to know. And in about 6 minutes, I've got like 45 responses to that.
Are they on our side or their side?
At Ben's DH says with, definitely with. At Vera Vences says without at home, with at the Green Dragon. Great response.
97.1 FM Spartanburg. In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope, we use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios,
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
but you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structure, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Hey, it's Madman and I'm the Rise Guy. Come see us for a P1 Pilsner blowout at Thomas Creek Brewery this afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. Stop in and load up on cases of Rise Guy's P1 Pilsner, the best beer on the planet. It's only $20 a case, and the first 93 cases out the door, you get a free Rise Guy's Kangen cooler. It's gonna make sure to keep your beer good and cold over the holidays, the beach, picnicking, partying, wherever you're going. Just get stocked up for your July 4th celebration with plenty of Rise Guy's P1 Pilsner, the best beer on the planet.
Hi, it's Gary David with Travis Benson, the owner of CN.
I'm so offended by the belch. Every time I hear it, I'm just offended.
Can give a homeowner a sinking feeling. How can you help?
At CNT Foundations, we are your foundation experts, not expert salespeople. As general contractors, we offer lifetime solutions and real peace of mind.
Call 864-581-3341. CNT Foundations, your foundation experts.
This Saturday, join the Rock Golf Club and Resort for their 4th of July celebration. Bring your blankets and chairs and enjoy food, fireworks, and live music. Headlined by Sean Stimoli. Tickets are just $10 at the door. Come early Saturday to enjoy tons of food options. Music starting at 6 p.m. Headliner Sean Stimoli.
Have to check and see if Grey Court's doing fireworks this year. Every year it's an adventure
Where?
in Grey Court,
Grey Court.
because they're not really good at it, and the grand finale usually means the grass catches on fire. It's I haven't been in a couple of years. They might have improved since then. I'm not sure they had it last year, so.
Advertising software that's built for our changing digital landscape. With Viant's Adelphic DSP, marketers can plan, buy, and measure their results all in one place. Give your brand an average of 3 times the return on ad spend with Viant. Get started today at viantnow.com/audio. Results may vary.
Did you book the Townsend's 10th anniversary ticket? Alona's travel agency is overbooked and experiencing delays.
Yeah, but Josh, what 90s cartoon characters are on it? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I gotta go find a Nickelodeon Nicktoon shirt today for 90s night at the match. Funny enough, I do not own any 90s Nick shirts.
Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing
Nickelodeon started like at the end of the 90s, didn't it? Or was it like mid 90s?
I mean, Nickelodeon's been around since a long time,
Has it?
but like the great Nicktoons cartoons.
I know.
would
I hate to say it,
middle-
but I couldn't afford cable during that time, so it's the truth, man. It's not. It is the truth. Every once in a while, I'd be at someone's house. See, to me, Nickelodeon didn't really start till like, yeah, but that was not Nickelodeon. I was going to say Dexter and all that, but that was all Cartoon Network.
Dexter's Laboratory.
Yes. I'm trying to think. Maybe I didn't like anything on Nickelodeon. It's possible.
Rocco's Modern Life. Rocco's Modern Life. Bow, 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 bow. Well, my Twitter feed has been clogged up in the best way possible. There is a, I won't say his name because I don't know that it's public info, but there's a young man on Twitter that I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the past handful of days who runs a Twitter account, J.R.R. Tolkien. The handle is at J.R.R. Tolkien. And if you are a gigantic nerd like me, about a year ago, maybe slightly more, we got a retweet from the J.R.R. Tolkien account, and I became a huge fan. Immediate, like it was an immediate follow for me. Well, the Tolkien
He was
account,
already a fan of the author. He just means a fan
correct.
of it. Yeah.
Already Tolkien fan, but then I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien followed me. And I worked for about a year and a half to earn a follow back from Tolkien. I'm not the dude who begs for a follow, right? Hey, can you follow me back, please? Like, I'm not that guy. If I get a follow, it's because I earned a follow. Well, I've recently gotten in touch. I've gotten to know, and matter of fact, next week gonna grab a brewski with the guy who runs that account because I'm fascinated by it. It's amazing, and he seems like a good dude. And so, anyway, the official J.R.R. Tolkien account tweeted out a moment ago to its nearly 150,000 followers, in Middle Earth, would hobbits serve hot dogs with or without chili at the Rob Brown Show? Wishes to know. And now my Twitter feed has just exploded with fellow nerds trying to figure out, would hobbits serve hot dogs with or without chili as the default hot dog? And the range of answers, is vast.
Hobbits enjoy their food, but they also, I think, like making money. So I believe they would charge for the chili.
The best answer so far is, recall chapter 1, Bilbo Baggins would serve whatever guests like, various kinds of hot dogs with and without chili, cheese, onion, sauerkraut, relish, mustard, ketchup, mayo. He, of course, would have tried them all as well. Correct. That's the correct answer. But Bilbo would not have said, here's a hot dog and handed you a chili dog. He just said, here's a chili dog. Would you like more condiments on top of it? The answer, of course, would be yes. But yes, I got the not even a retweet. The ghost of J.R.R. Tolkien is listening to the show and sending out tweets on our behalf right now. Hey, look, Ma, I've made it, I believe is how the song goes. Believe that's how the song goes. All right. Coming up in the next hour of the show, Deshaun Watson's disciplinary meeting started yesterday. They were paused. They continue today. Reports saying that it may go deeper into this week. But the NFL may not only not get the full 1 year but indefinite suspension that they were looking for, they may get 6 to 8 games and not fight it. Why wouldn't they fight it? It's not a good look. I'll tell you why. Plus, Freddie Freeman. I tried to tell y'all all week, if you looked at the divorce between Freddie and the Braves as a romantic relationship, you were gonna get burnt. And you did. Because Freddie pulled a trigger yesterday that told me I was right the whole time. We're gonna talk about that. And a slip up by the Seattle Seahawks may have indicated that Baker's wearing blue and green and not blue and silver next year. I'll tell you about that when we come out of the gate next. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Rocco's Modern Life. Rocco's Modern Life. Bow, 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 bow.
I'm just trying to think of Nickelodeon cartoons. I know my kid, or at least my daughter, was really into Rugrats. That's like the only thing.
Rugrats. Tommy Pickles. Angelica.
My favorite character, by the way. And don't forget Dilly Pickles, who's,
He came along later, though, right?
who cares? It's amazing. Dilly Pickles. I would make my daughter mad by saying Angelica is the best character in the whole thing. Oh, no, she's not. She's so mean. And, I think there was something about that all being a dream or something from Angelica. I forget. There's some deep dive into it that none of that really happened.
Yeah.
That there was depression or something.
I think I've read that theory before. You had the twins, Phil and Lil. You had Chucky, who was the red-haired kid. I think of the other Nicktoon cartoons that were so good. Dexter's Lab, Hey Arnold.
See, Dexter's Lab was Cartoon Network. It wasn't Nickelodeon.
That's right. You're right. You're right.
That's
Let's see. Nicktoons. Nicktoons started. They started heavily investing in Nicktoons in 1988.
okay.
But it started with Doug.
Never seen Doug before. I know who it is, but Doug looks like a PBS show.
It was good, but it was a great show.
Not that there's anything wrong with a PBS show, but it looks like a PBS.
All right, let's see here. The first Nicktoon that was approved in 1988 was Doug, followed by the Rugrats. Ren and Stimpy came out after that. Ren and Stimpy is younger than Doug and the Rugrats. I would not have guessed that.
See, for some reason, I thought Ren and Stimpy was MTV. So
In 1992, they hired the first John Kricfalusi, who was the guy who organized the Nicktoons, because the network was growing uncomfortable with the more crude humor that had begun taking over some of the... You thumbs up Ren and Stimpy, but then got offended at crude humor?
well, maybe Ren and Stimpy brought that on because of how it was.
Maybe. After that started... Rocco's Modern Life came out in 92. In 97, Nicktoons started getting big, but that was when SpongeBob... See, I'm talking the classics. I'm not talking SpongeBob.
How is SpongeBob not a classic? It's still going on. I mean,
But it was post my golden cartoon days, right?
my golden cartoon days were the 70s. So we're a little bit apart. It was Super Friends and stuff like that. So.
Let's see. It's like a lot of the ones that like Fairly Odd Parents. I was in high school when that came out.
Fairly Odd
Jimmy
Parents.
Neutron. I was in high school.
Both those shows are great shows.
Danny Phantom, high school.
Danny Phantom, that's all right.
Doug was great. Ren and Stimpy was great. Log.
It sounds to me like they got better after you got out of high
I
school.
disagree. Rocco's Modern Life was phenomenal.
I still have no idea what that is.
Oh, Rocco's Modern Life was incredible.
But all the other ones you mentioned, I know all those.
Rocco's Modern Life. Cow and Chicken, Chicken and Cow was in my heyday.
No Cow and Chicken, but I thought Cow and Chicken was on Cartoon Network. I'm a little shocked.
Cat Dog,
That's
Angry Beavers.
both were kind of weird, especially Cat Dog.
All of the My Day Nicktoons were all weird. Real Monsters. That show was good.
No idea
Real
what that-
Monsters was great.
No idea what that is.
Oh man, it was good.
See, for the most part, me saying I don't know what it is makes sense because I'm an old man and all that stuff. But we both know that I'm still into all this stuff. But there
Apparently
was,
they did a Rugrats All Grown Up, which was about them in their like
yeah, it was,
late tens.
it was kind of sad.
The Wild Thornberries.
I know of them, but I never
Nigel?
really watched it.
You are not going to the college football playoff. Deal or no deal, or do you press your luck? Do you keep
Doug, hey Arnold.
a lot of Clemson fans are in the playoff or bust mindset?
So, are generations more snobbish about their cartoons or their music?
Better this year, DJ may take you farther than
My cartoons were better than your cartoons.
Oh, I don't do that at all.
You kind of are doing
I'm
that.
absolutely not.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying you don't have to.
Oh, you
don't have to-
poo-pooed
you have to-
SpongeBob and you did.
I just said that it wasn't in my golden era.
There was a tone though.
there was not.
Absolutely was a tone. Go back and watch or listen. There was,
don't need to. I know me. I was here when it happened. Things are getting contentious in the Rob.
I
Brown
was here
studio
when it
today.
happened too. So there.
Contentious in the studio today.
I don't use words I can't spell.
Somebody on Twitter said, the unnatural, unholy substance known as a hot dog. Welcome back, y'all. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show takes off now. This is the Fan Upstate. How do you do, my friends? I am Rob. The great one, Lonzo, is at the helm today. We are stoked to have you along for the ride. Yesterday, the National Football League started their disciplinary hearings around Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. They started by having the round table in front of the retired federal judge, who is the one that will ultimately decide what the punishment will be. There is the possibility of an appeals process, and that has brought out a very interesting turn of events within the disciplinary hearings itself. Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk has put out an article, headline, report more NFL more likely to accept 6 to 8 game suspension of Deshaun Watson and not appeal. And that, of course, would mean that the league would not appeal, not Deshaun Watson. I told you last week that based on the context clues, I had assumed that the National Football League had asked for 1 or more years worth of suspension for Deshaun Watson. I thought it was going to be at least a full season, 17 games plus the playoffs. Then earlier this week, we find out that that was the case. The National Football League was looking for an indefinite suspension with a minimum of 17 games, a minimum of 1 year, but indefinite into the future. Well, not much news came out yesterday, both during or after the conclusion of the disciplinary hearing. But Rob Matty of the Associated Press told Mike Florio, quote, I'm told the NFL, despite insisting on indefinite suspension, wants to avoid the appeals process. A source said a terrible situation for everyone involved, so the league is more likely to abide by Sue Robinson's ruling if she came back with 6 to 8 games. Now, Florio said that that would be a surprising revelation, quote, end quote. And I think it certainly leads to the question, why? Why would the NFL do that? Why would the NFL, inside of a week after reports escaped that they were looking for a minimum 1 year suspension with an indefinite ending point on the end of it, would they suddenly go, yeah, less than half the season sounds good? And the answer is because they would want to avoid the appeals process. Now, if Sue Robinson came back and said 2 game suspension, 3 game suspension, and the NFL allowed that to happen, it would be a nightmare for their public relations staff. It would be a nightmare if the federal judge in charge of the mediation said 5-game suspension, 4 3-game, 2-game suspension, and the NFL said, yeah, we're good with that, right? It would be a nightmare scenario for the NFL. If she goes 6 to 8-game suspension, it may be long enough that the NFL can justifiably not go to an appeals process, and short enough that Deshaun Watson would not have his camp begin an appeals process. Why? Because Deshaun would look at it and go, all right, it's half the season. I can come back and play the back half. Maybe the boys are in a playoff spot, or at least in a spot that I can come back and work them back into one. And the NFL could go, hey, guys, 8 games is half the season. You know, we gave him a half year. Ben got 2. So Deshaun got 4 times as many. We're good, right? And then start distracting the angry football fans with shiny things, because we'll be close to training camp at that point, right? So why? Why is that the direction they would go? Because if she makes it a year longer, it is almost inevitable that Deshaun Watson is going to appeal. If she makes it 1, 2, 3 games, it is almost an inevitability that the NFL would appeal. The problem with the appeal is that in order for the appeal to be heard, one and or both sides would have to go in front of Sue Robinson, and they would have to put everything they know on the table. Well, this all comes, of course, a couple of days after it was announced that the Houston Texans have been added as defendants to some of the court cases that are still ongoing about Deshaun Watson, which means that Tony Busby and these women have at least some information that they believe they could pin to the Texans and justify damages in a civil court case. Based on the fact that we have now also gotten a report that the Texans knew what Deshaun was doing when they bought him a membership to the Houstonian Hotel. They knew what Deshaun was doing. Deshaun, according to one report, on at least one occasion, borrowed a massage table from the Texans. The Texans training staff said, hey, Deshaun, if you need a massage, you know we got you, right? If you need therapy, you know we got you, right? That's literally what we're here for. That's literally our job. And Deshaun was like, nah, I got this, bro. Let me just get a massage table. Let me just grab a massage table. I'll get out y'all's hair. I'm going to head across the street to the Houstonian. And the Texans let it happen. I'm assuming, and this may be an unfair assumption on my behalf, but I'm assuming that at some point the Texans found out the behavior of Deshaun Watson, and then we're just like, all right, dude, just keep it out the light. You know what I mean? Like, here's a key to the hotel across the street. Come and go as you need to. Just please keep it on the DL. Because otherwise I'm not sure what the lawsuit would be about. But we may find out. We may find out if these other 4 women don't settle and it goes to court. But if it was to come out that the National Football League, a.k.a. in this case the Houston Texans, knew that Deshaun's behavior was in direct violation of the personal conduct policy of the players, and it goes to an appeal, that might be found out. And what is more of a nightmare scenario for the National Football League? Is it A, Deshaun gets suspended for 2 or 3 games, and now they've got to answer to the crowd of very angry women predominantly, but men and women who are upset with a short suspension, or B, it does go to the appeal. It comes onto the table during the appeal that the Houston Texans, a.k.a. the NFL in this case, knew what Deshaun was doing and not only let it continue, but helped to facilitate it. If you're a PR rep for the NFL, which of those 2 situations would you rather try to spin? For me, easily the first one.
All right. So from my understanding, Houston is being sued separately by the women also. So this stuff's going to come out anyway. This is, in the end, this is for PR purposes. they have to suspend him a year. If they do not, there's going to be some sort of backlash. Can they weather it? They've weathered other things for sure. But so you pointed out that Ben only got 2, and this is but it isn't like there was only like 8 cases or 10 cases. There were 24 cases. 4 of those cases are still pending, and if I read correctly, and I believe I did, Tony Busby and the women are also suing Houston. So if they sue Houston, this stuff's coming out anyway. So the appeals thing is not going to matter. It's going to come out. And if you are the NFL and you go light on the suspension, and then stuff comes out that Houston knew about it and they let it happen, that even further looks bad on the NFL. You got to go at least a year.
Bingo. Now, here's the problem for the National Football League. If they do a year, right? If Judge Robinson comes down and goes, after reviewing the evidence and discussing the situation with both sides, I have come to the conclusion that a 1-year suspension from the National Football League is fair as a disciplinary action towards Deshaun Watson. Remember, the appeals process can come from either party, meaning that Deshaun, with the help of the NFL Players Association, probably can also appeal the 1-year suspension, which means that Deshaun will then come back to the disciplinary chambers, put his side of whatever he wants to say in an appeal onto the table, and then the NFL will get called back to respond to that. And the NFL will have 2 opportunities. Number 1, they can respond with what they know, which may paint them in the negative light again, or they cannot respond. Deshaun Watson wins the appeal. The suspension is downgraded to the 6 or 8 games anyway, or negated entirely, and there is no suspension, in which case the NFL looks stupid again. So the reason that I am now with the belief that this is going to be an 8-game suspension, right? It's going to be a half a year suspension. It may be 8. It may get to 9. They may do 9 just to say it's a full half a season. But I'm of the belief it's going to get to 8 minimum, 9 maximum, because that is going to be the area where the NFL and Deshaun both agree not to appeal the suspension. Because at the end of the day, if this thing gets appealed either way, the chances that the NFL has to either put damning information about themselves on the table or risk that Deshaun does in his appeal grows exponentially, meaning that the NFL, while right now all the negative attention is focused on Deshaun, to the point that we're not even barely, we are, because we're damn good at our jobs, but the majority of the media, we're not even talking about Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder is out here ignoring federal subpoenas. And we're not even talking about Dan. Dan Snyder, outside of Deshaun Watson, is the guy that we love to hate in the NFL more than anybody else. We love to hate Dan Snyder more than we love to hate rivals of our own teams. And we're ignoring that. My man's out here ignoring federal subpoenas to keep the very negative limelight centered on Deshaun. For the NFL, that's good. That's good. Now, we may think, I will tell you, if Deshaun catches 8 or 9 games, there are still going to be a lot of people out there that are going to go, this is a garbage discipline. This is a bad move. This is telling you that, hey, you smoke some weed, you're out for a year. You assault upwards of 20 women, you're out 8 games. It's a bad look. But the worst look would be if it makes it to the public that the Houston Texans knew what Deshaun was doing and not only ignored it, but facilitated it, because the Houston Texans in this case, in the eye of the public, will be looked at as the NFL, not the Texans, but the entire organization. And the NFL wants to avoid that as well. Not that it happened. They want to avoid the perception that it happened, because in the court of public opinion, perception is reality. And we have talked about this. I don't know, Lonzo, where the breaking point is that the NFL starts to lose money. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's the CTE thing. I don't know if it's suspension for weed. As that becomes a more socially acceptable thing around the country. I do know that if the NFL, if it hits the table, that the NFL, read Houston Texans, facilitated Deshaun Watson doing what Deshaun Watson is accused of having done here and what receipts have been brought to the table showing that he at least did to some degree. If the NFL knew and worse facilitated it, I got to assume that's as close to that breaking point as the NFL's ever gotten.
I am curious. The longer this thing goes, who does it bode better for? The longer this hearing goes, if it goes longer, is it better for Deshaun, or is it does it point out that it's going to be lesser? Because obviously there's presenting of evidence, then there's sentencing, and then the appeal process, which you talked about earlier. As it goes longer, I think it's more. It's bad for Deshaun. Because if the NFL, if it's just about negotiation of how many games, this thing would already be over, and we're in the second day, and they're saying it could go longer and longer.
The answer to that is, I don't know.
If you have so much evidence against someone that it takes multiple days to bring out all the evidence, how could the suspension be shorter?
So the thing is, for the disciplinary process, at least this is how I understand it. For the disciplinary process, this is effectively the National Football League coming in front of Judge Sue Robinson and saying, we did our investigation, we did our due diligence, here's what we found. And then Deshaun Watson responding to that and going, that's wrong, I can prove this wrong, I'm telling you that's wrong, you got to take my word for it, etc. And then Judge Robinson.
I will never settle. And I mean, all these things that he's said before have to be taken into account too. He say, I will not do this, I did not do this, I did not do this. And then you settle. I would think in the judge's eyes that makes your word a little bit lesser.
We'll see, right? We'll see. As we've talked about on the show, again, not an attorney, nor did I stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night, but settling a civil suit, settling a civil suit is neither an admission of guilt nor innocence. You were not saying I did it. You were not saying I didn't do it. You were simply saying, I don't feel like dealing with this, right? There have been a lot
after like a year, you decide, I don't feel like dealing with this.
Correct. It is a bad look that you went, I'm not settling. Oh, well, here you go. Here's some cash. Get out of my way, right? I agree it's a bad look perception-wise. Legally speaking, you cannot hold that against Deshaun as an admission of guilt or innocence. And I would assume that a federal judge, knowing that, is not going to look at the settlements itself as an admission of guilt. She's going to look at it as Deshaun paid to stop going to court. Now, will she take into consideration how long for a damn better of a year that Deshaun said, I won't settle, and then did, and go, you do? I don't know. I would say I doubt it, but I don't know Judge Robinson. I can't tell you for a fact. What I can tell you ultimately is that the National Football League is going to do what they can to try to prevent the public perception that the Houston Texans knew what was going on and worse, facilitated what was going on for Deshaun while he was there. Because if the Texans did know what was going on and worse, again, facilitated what was going on, you can just scratch Texans and write NFL above that, right? Because they're a franchise. They are going to be looked at the public eye as if it's the same thing. Now,
see, I don't think so. I think the NFL is viewed like the United States, that each team is an individual thing unto itself, but they're governed by a larger body. I don't think the entire NFL will be judged by everybody that way. There'll be a handful of people who will, and those are people who see ill everywhere. But I've never looked at the NFL that way.
The NFL hopes that you are the majority. They really do. The NFL hopes that the larger public eye feels like Lonzo does. I don't know if that would be true or not. And I'm not saying I do or not. I'm saying I genuinely don't know what the fan response would be. I don't know if the fan response would be the Texans did it, therefore the NFL did it, or the Texans did it, and that's a damn blight on the NFL. Texan says, Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line 71307 says,
I doubt it's the Texans, but you never know.
Yeah.
The text
Texans
line
ain't saying a damn thing right now. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line 71307. Start your text with Fan FAN. I'll read them on the air. Texter says, I think it's going to be a 1-year minimum suspension, and the NFL is not above sacrificing the Texans. And I'm glad you said that because that's where I was going to go next. The one, get out of jail not free, but with the best possible public eye outcome. The best option the NFL would have on the table, if the suspension is too short and the NFL decides to appeal and it does come out, whether it's from Deshaun or a reporter or what else, that the Texans facilitated, is Goodell getting on the horn with the other 31 owners and going, look, we got to jettison Houston. We got to get rid of Houston. And I don't know if the answer is get rid of the ownership, force the McNairs to sell, strip them of ownership, or literally just kill the franchise, right? Just kill it. 31 NFL teams now. AFC South short a team in the division. I don't know what the way they might go is, but their one saving grace, their one option here would be 100% to just jettison the Texans, at least the ownership, and every person working in the front office and rebuilding that franchise from scratch. And that way they can go, hey, the Texans knew. We didn't know. The NFL didn't know. The Texans knew. It never made it to us. And that is why we have held every person in that front office accountable. And that's why they're all unemployed and banned from the National Football League for life. I'm talking trainers. I'm talking coaches that were involved. Anybody you can prove knew what was going on with Deshaun is banned from the NFL for good. And even if Deshaun only gets an 8 or 9 game suspension, the NFL can at least point at that and go, we took it as seriously as we could. We can't do anything about the disciplinary process. We're disappointed, but we got what we could. But every person under our employment who was involved, who knew what was going on, is now fired and banned from the league for life. That's about the only public saving grace, I think, that is available in front of them. Let's take a break. Texter says, Robin Lonzo, outstanding segment on the Deshaun situation. The legal intricacies are really interesting. By the way, as a Washington fan, I can't stand Daniel Snyder. Yeah, I can't blame you for that. Can't blame you for that. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. So, there's the scarves are like a big thing for soccer matches.
Hmm?
Tonight's 90s match. Look at the 90s themed scarf that Triumph put out. I love it. O'Reilly. If somebody is playing that bass riff, Lonzo, that's incredible.
You haven't seen guys that could do that?
I have.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, if somebody's playing this bass riff, that's incredible.
So you think it's all...
I gotta think it's automated. That's insane.
That's sounds like a good job. If you're, just sit around, create music, it'd be awesome.
It's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob Alonzo with you. 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. Two big topics we've hit on the show so far. The ACC releasing their new scheduling model for football, which starts up in 2023. It is going to be a 3-5-5 system. That is to say, every team will have 3 teams that they play every year. They are not pods. Every team has 3 individual teams they would play every single year. It is not the same 3 teams. So you may be grouped in with team A, B, and C, but A is not playing B, C, and U. They've got their own A, B, and C. And team B has their own A, B, C, and team C has their own A, B, C. You will also play over the course of 2 years, you will play 5 of the remaining 10 teams at home and away. And then in year 3, you will play the other 5 remaining teams home and away. That is the new model. I think it is fantastic. I think it's great. Somebody said, oh, you get rid of divisional rivals. Not really. Not really. You're going to play everybody now. In fact, if anything, it helps you to grow rivalries because you're going to play a team. Imagine in the second year that you play a team. Second year play a team, you have an absolute dogfight of a game. Absolute dogfight of a game that ends with fisticuffs and shenanigans and tomfoolery, perhaps. And then that game's over. Well, now you don't have to wait 4 or 5 or 6 years before you see that team again because they're in the other division. You see them in 2 years. And you see them back-to-back in 2 years. Because the thing is, with the divisional setup, it might be 3 or 4 or 5 years before you see that team again. And it might be another 3 or 4 or 5 years before you see them after that. Now, you know the longest you'll have to wait is 2 more seasons and you see him the season after that. 3 years. And then once you do see him, you see him twice. You see him back to back. Home and away. Your house theirs, their house yours. I love it. I think it's a great setup. Everybody gets everybody instead of you get a bunch of guys over and over and over and then twice a year you get somebody random from the other division. I think it's beautiful. The other thing it does is it continues to push the inevitability of super conferences. I've told you, prepare for it. Get ready for it. 20-team conferences are on the way. It's happening. But it's a long way off. It is a long way off. When 20-team conferences end up getting here, This is the model that's going to happen. Except instead of 3-5-5, it's going to be 3-7-7 or 2-7-7 or 3-6-6-1. I don't know. I don't know how it would work. But the point is, this base model is the base model for expanded super conferences. It is going to happen. It is only a matter of time. And the ACC knows that. So the ACC is preparing for that. The Pac-12 is preparing for that. As I told Lonzo back in the second segment of the show, I'm going to go ahead and go on the record now with a prediction. The Big Ten and the SEC are both going to move to this model in the next 2 to 3 years, if that. I wouldn't be shocked if next spring meetings down in Destin, the SEC doesn't announce that they are going to a 3-5-5. What was the other option? It was 3-5-5 or it was 1-8-8 or something crazy? I don't remember. But I would be shocked. I think 3-5-5 is the way they're going to go because, again, Alabama's got to have Auburn, but you don't necessarily want to have Alabama, LSU not play, right? Especially when both those teams are up. You don't want to see Texas A&M play each other, but not see Texas, Oklahoma, or see Texas, Oklahoma, but not Texas A&M, right? I want the old Big 12 teams to be an absolute shootout. 3-5-5 does that for you. I don't want Florida, Georgia to be the only rivalry Florida plays every year. Are you kidding me? Florida, Georgia as one of the three works for that. The SEC is next. The Big Ten will be right behind for the same reason. Of course, we all want Ohio State, Michigan. It's one of the best 3 or 4 rivalries in all of college football, if not the best, depending on who you ask. But does that mean you don't want Michigan, Michigan State? No, of course you do. 3-5-5 solves that. I know it hasn't been a rivalry for a decade and a half, but you don't want Ohio State, Nebraska to go away, do you?
You know what else solves that? Leaving it the way it is because they still play each other. So, I mean, there's that. That's not the best example in the Big Ten.
It's the best one I could come up with on the fly.
Here's what I believe. I believe that the rest of the NCAA football people are going to watch the ACC and see if it works. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think that the big ones are going to do it. We'll see. You say 3 years, we'll see. I say never because I think it's going to be it's not going to be – the fans aren't going to like it. And really that's what it should come down to, fan support, because fans coming to games – we saw what it was like when fans couldn't come to games. Fans coming to games is what keeps your program going.
Why would fans not come to games?
Let's just say that every year you know your team's going to play this team every year and you plan a trip, and now they don't play them anymore. So you don't go on that trip. You don't go see that game because the people the team that they are playing, you don't care to see them play that team. Maybe you got family in that area or something. You love going there then because you get to see the family, you get to watch a game. Well, then that costs some ticket sales.
I don't think that theory is going to hold water.
We'll see.
And the reason I don't think
that's the thing about theories. They're either proven or they're not.
Yeah, but I mean, you can educate a guess before you bring it. I mean, the great thing about in this case, what is by definition the use of science to figure out who's right here, right? The great thing about a theory is you can punch holes in a theory before you bring it to lab to test.
Yeah, but I don't think you can use scientific method on something like this because there are too many variables as far as people against it just for tradition's sake, people against it because of the thing that I brought up earlier. They want to go to this place to watch this game. Now they can't.
You'll still get to.
But not the particular game that you were planning on going to.
So again, let's say you're Alabama. Let's say you're Alabama. And let's say for whatever reason, you're an Alabama fan and your brother is an Ole Miss fan, and Alabama Ole Miss is a great weekend for you guys, right? Because Alabama Ole Miss it's your family rivalry. We played every year under the old SEC West. Now you got to take 2-year breaks from it. Do you think there are enough Alabama Ole Miss this rivalry matters to me that would outshadow Alabama fans who never got to go see a game played at Ben Hill Griffin in the Swamp? Who never got to go watch Alabama play at South Carolina in Columbia? Or vice versa. South Carolina fans, if your team ever gets good again and you get to go to Tuscaloosa, something that happened. When's the last time South Carolina went to Tuscaloosa? Anybody know? And if so, when's the last time before that? I can't imagine it happens often, right? Now you're going to get to go to Tuscaloosa once every 4 years. You will be in Tuscaloosa once every 4 years. And Bama will be in your house once every 4 years. South Carolina will now go to Baton Rouge. One of the best places to watch college football in the country is a tailgate at Baton Rouge. You will go there once every 4 years. And the crazy-ass LSU fans will bring their tailgate to you once every 4 years. That's awesome.
By the way, if you're just tuning into the show, what he's talking about is hypothetical because it's not happening in the SEC. It's happening in the ACC.
When it inevitably happens in the SEC, and it will, Rob Brown has to
Because someone just tuned in and went, what?
It is happening in the ACC, right? So now, and again, the ACC is so bad. It doesn't hold the same meaning as it does with the SEC.
Which is why you have to. That's okay, fine. Which is why you have to keep using that as an example because the ACC is so bad.
It really is. But you gotta hope this. You gotta hope this somehow helps. Gotta hope this somehow helps. I love it.
That's why it seems like desperation. We know that we're bad. Maybe we'll just mix things up a little bit and it won't look as bad. Well, yeah, it's still going to be bad.
Again, yeah, you hope it makes the product better, right? Of course you hope it makes the product better. Now you get to play everywhere in the SEC. You get road trips all over the Atlantic Seaboard now. As opposed to you're going to play the same 6 schools every year, and then you'll get 2 other ones mixed in every year.
Well, the best thing about it is some of those teams won't have to play won't have to play Clemson, and so for them, that's great because they don't have a guaranteed loss.
All right, your thoughts on conference realignment, I guess? The new scheduling model. What is it? We also talked a little bit about the Deshaun Watson story. Again, I think the NFL is going to be looking for I think they'd like a 1-year suspension. I think if they get between 6 and 9 games, they will not appeal because bringing an appeal to the table effectively means that the Texans are going to have to put stuff on the table that maybe they've been able to keep hush-hush. And if it comes out that A, they knew some stuff was going on, and B, that they intentionally kept that stuff hush-hush, it's going to be a bad look for the league. You got any thoughts on that? I want to hear it. When we come back here in just a minute, I've been telling you for a hot minute that I thought the Freddie Freeman departure from Atlanta, frankly, was not on Freddie Freeman. And yesterday we got some evidence that your boy was once again correct. I'll tell you what that evidence was when we come back. I'm Rob Brown. He's the Great Malonzo, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show. You are listening to The Fan Upstate. Hey, Nephew Lou. I will see you this weekend, buddy. Can't wait. We're going to go to Georgia. We're going to have some fun in the mountains. Maybe go see a river. Can't wait. It's going to be fun. But hello, Nephew Lou. Miss you, buddy. I will see you in 2 days. 2 whole days. 2 whole days, my man. It's exciting. That AEW tweet's great. Great. Did you go back and look at MJF's profile picture and header? His profile picture is him hugging Triple H, and his banner is the scarf, and it says 2024 or sooner. That man is a phenomenal troll. The hot dog? Huh. Now, listen. Lonzo, I'd rather be sober all the time. I'd rather be sober all the time than ever drink that. Genuinely would rather just be a sober person.
I wonder if there are pieces of the hot dog in the water. So who's ever looked at the hot dog water and went, you know what?
I bet that's
But
delicious.
that tastes good. Let me try that.
Yeah. So, Freddie Freeman has taken quite a bit of heat from Atlanta Braves fans since last Friday when he showed back up in the ATL wearing Dodgers blue for the very first time. Freddie was quite emotional in his press conference. He was obviously very emotional when he stepped out onto the field to receive his World Series ring from Brian Snitker. He was emotional during the game. In fact, there was a really, really good picture that was making the rounds on social media. Towards the end of the Saturday game in extra innings, the entire Dodgers roster is standing along the front of the dugout. You know, the dugout's got the bench and then a walkway, and then it's got like an elevated area and then the rail in front, and you'll see players kind of lean out over the rail. The entire Dodgers roster is leaning over the rail except for one guy, Freddie Freeman, who is sitting against the back wall with his arms crossed and his hands looking down, looking frankly despondent. A picture can be misleading, but I think that one spoke 1,000 words. Anyway, a lot of Braves fans were giving Freddie crap. Oh, if you wanted to be here, you'd be here. If you wanted to be here, you'd be here. If you wanted to be here, you wanted to be here. And I told you, I think Freddie did want to be there, but I think there were a lot of variables that came into play. I think there was a lot of things that came into play as to why Freddie is no longer an Atlanta Brave. And I told you that I genuinely think a good chunk of that, I think Freddie's agents screwed Freddie Freeman. And here's why. I told you that, and we were talking about this when it happened coming out of the lockout. God, you remember the lockout? Doesn't it feel like the lockout was like 10 years ago? Coming out of the lockout, the Braves made a $135 million 5-year offer to Freddie Freeman. The lead negotiator for Freddie's agency at the time, Excel Sports Marketing, contacted Alex Anthopoulos, the head of the GM for the Braves. And he presented two proposals on behalf of Freddie Freeman, both of them significantly higher than the $135 million that the Braves had put on the table. Not only did he say two offers, both significantly higher than the Braves, but he told Alex Anthopoulos, you have an hour to respond. 1 hour. You're on the clock. Tick tock, tick tock. Well, that deadline passed. And the personal agent of Freddie Freeman, Casey Close, talked to Anthopoulos once again, and they agreed that there were no offers on the table. Well, the Atlanta Braves, believing that there was no offer on the table, especially after Excel Sports said you have 1 hour to respond to our demand that is dramatically higher than your offer, the Braves, and I think very reasonably so, just went on the assumption, oh, Freddie must have another offer from another team, right? You said you want $160 million for 5 years. You want $160 million for 5 years. And that's dramatically more than we offered. That means somebody out there is offering you 160 and you want us to match it, right? So the Braves, assuming that Freddie Freeman had an offer on the table, went ahead and made the move to sign 27-year-old Matt Olson to an 8-year, $168 million contract, which definitively ended Freddie Freeman's time as a Brave. Freeman ended up negotiating with signing for the Dodgers 6 years, $162 million. However, of that $162 million, $57 million of it is in deferred salary. And when you prop the deferred salary alongside the California sales tax, Freddie Freeman may make less money with the Dodgers than he would have made if he'd have taken the $135 million offer from the Braves. My belief is that Freddie Freeman told his agents, hey, get me what I deserve, but keep me in Atlanta. I want to be a Bravo. I want to be a Brave. Get me what I deserve, but keep me in A-Town. Casey Close, Freddie's agent, was like, all right, let's play hardball. Played hardball with the Braves. The Braves called his bluff and went another direction, leaving Freddie out in the cold. So then Casey had to call the Dodgers to be like, yo, I need you to get my guy paid. And they were like, cool, we'll give you this. And he had to negotiate a contract that ultimately may, not won't, but may not pay Freddie the same amount of money. Which means Freddie got screwed by his agent. Now, up until yesterday, I was like, you know what? That theory makes sense, right? I think that there's enough evidence on the table that it is fair to believe that that is a possibility, not a definite, but a possible reality of what happened. Yesterday, Freddie Freeman fired his entire agency. He is no longer represented by Excel Sports. Here's what I think happened. I think Excel screwed Fred. I think Freddie wanted to be a Brave. I think Casey Close and Excel played hardball with the Braves. The Braves called the bluff. They went and got a younger first baseman, putting up very similar numbers to Freddie Freeman. Forced Freddie to L.A. Freddie's getting possibly less money. He came back to Atlanta. I think he came back to Atlanta, Zoe, walked into the locker room, walked out onto the field, got his ring, listened to the Braves fans who, after 13 seasons of being Freddie fans, gave him a louder ovation than he's gotten in LA so far. And I think he went, I got screwed. I should be here. I should be a Brave. I should be playing in Atlanta. And days after it happened, he fired the agent who screwed him over. I think the theory that I floated for 2 weeks got justified yesterday.
You know, you may be absolutely right, but a lot of fans don't care. They only care about their team. They don't want to hear a sob story. You're not with our team anymore. You're the enemy. You left. It's different when you're traded because you didn't have a choice. But in this case, I think a lot of people are not willing to go do all the research. And when this finally comes out, will it be widely known to the average person who is a Braves fan?
Well, first off, that's why we're here.
Yeah, I know.
That's why
I
we're
know.
here. Because Lonzo is here to educate the masses, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he does.
Yeah, if you're getting educated by me, fourth grade might be your limit.
I'm going to say this respectfully. I frankly don't care if the average Braves fan doesn't understand it. I don't care. I do. I have been floating the theory since he got dumped into LA. I've been floating the theory since Matt Olson. As a matter of fact, the day Matt Olson signed, I'm tempted after the show to go look up the date Matt Olson signed and go pull the show from that day. Because I floated that day. I think what happened is Freddie and/or Freddie's agents played hardball with the Braves, and the Braves called the bluff. Freddie got a contract for $135. He thought he deserved more than that. The Braves said, my dude, you're in your mid-30s now. This is what we got for you. Freddie played hardball. The Braves came up from 135, by the way. Remember? They came up. Just not to the 160 or whatever that Freddie wanted, right? His agent played hardball. The Braves went, yo, dog, we're Atlanta. We can get another you. We can get another bat that replaces your numbers. We may not be able to replace the captain.
Wow, we can get another you.
Dude, baseball's baseball, baby. And when Matt Olson's too old, there'll be another first baseman that can replace him. That's how the game works. That's how the game works. We can get another you. They did. Freddie's in LA. He came home to Atlanta. He realized what happened, and he fired his agent 3 days later. My theory was on target, y'all. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Max Caster just sent out a tweet that I'm not comfortable to read. I just want you to know that Platinum Max Caster has earned my follow on Twitter.
Surprised you didn't already follow.
I don't know why I didn't. Wow. There's one person texting the show. Well, I can't. I'll tell you after the show.
This show or
The other show.
A show that's on. Yeah.
The other show.
Okay. Is it the same guy you're talking about from before?
No, this dude has texted a number of times that a particular individual is a traitor to the country and that traitors deserve a certain treatment.
which means more considering who they're saying it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure he's handling it. He can get a little agitated on occasion, so which I always found really entertaining and concerning.
I don't think I've ever heard his angry tone. Does he have a good angry tone? He seems like he'd have a great angry voice. He sounds like he would have an Uncle Phil,
No,
angry dad voice.
No, this is no. His voice changes into something that you get scared of.
Really?
Especially if you're someone who is concerned about the dump button.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Can't heckle though. Still the worst heckler in the history of humanity. Heckled so bad I was embarrassed to be sitting next to him. It was so because you can't heckle in full sentences. I don't care what you just cannot heckle in proper language in full sentences. It just doesn't work. Trey, no, I don't think I would ever do the scissors handshake.
Yeah. If we won this year, we'd have done that on stage.
I will do the Mork from Mork handshake though.
Nanu.
Also, if you turn it this way, live long and prosper.
I'm gonna share the screen for a second because that's amazing. Leaked photos of the new Oregon alternate uniform.
Oh, okay. You know what that's from, though, right?
Yeah.
Have you been seeing
New
pictures of
Barbie
that?
movie, yeah.
Yeah, seeing Margot Robbie in a bunch of different. Seen her in ice skates. I've seen
Yeah.
her in roller skates. Seen her in a bunch of. That's roller skates there. Yeah.
The new Oregon alternate. Amazing tweet.
I don't know about that movie.
Amazing
I hope it's like unaware of itself, and everybody else like the remake of the Dukes of Hazzard, whether you liked it or not, they were unaware why everybody was upset
Yeah.
about everything. If they make it like that, it could be funny. Mysteries.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What up, world? Great to be with you for 59 minutes and 14 more seconds of sports talk excellence, ladies and gentlemen. Join us on our live stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate. Go to YouTube, search, and subscribe to The Rob Brown Show. You can go behind the scenes and watch Lonzo and I do the show every single day, all 3 hours. You can chat with us behind the screen. What have we talked about off the air today? We've talked about Nicktoons off the air today. We have talked about professional wrestling off the air today. We have made fun of the Oregon Ducks off the air today. I mean, it's been good.
Some people actually choose that team for all the variations of colors.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them. I know we kind of made fun of them a minute ago, but I love the organization. And I got to tell you, remember.
Have they won any national championships since doing that?
You have to dampen everything.
I'm just curious.
You have to ruin all the fun every day.
My memory is failing. So, I mean, it could have happened and I just forgot about it.
They did beat Florida State in the first playoff game, remember? Very first playoff game, and they knocked off FSU in that one.
Wow, who won the championship that year?
Not them.
I believe that would be the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Not them. I loved Oregon's unis. And remember, Oregon rose to prominence for a minute at the same time as they started bouncing out the crazy unis. Why? Because they created something that players wanted to be a part of.
But they also created something that places like Maryland said, hey, let's try that too. And that was a mistake.
I don't know, man. I love Maryland stuff too. So you know what the difference is? You know what the problem is? There's a big difference between the way Maryland did it and the way Oregon did it, right? Oregon created something that was different, unique, and it could fit anybody. If you're not from Maryland, having Maryland's flag emblazoned all over you doesn't do anything for you, right? Like, if I'm from Maryland, I own every Terps jersey they came up with. If I'm from Maryland, when they were putting like the Maryland logo with the crazy flag inside of it, I buy everything Maryland makes. If I'm from Maryland, if I'm a big Maryland guy.
Every time you say Maryland,
Maryland.
It sounds like Seinfeld's dad saying it, Jerry Stiller, for some reason. I can't say it the way I normally say it because I've heard you say it like 5 times that way and it's stuck in my head.
Maryland. How about the Maryland Terrapins?
All right, let's just do it the way they do here. Maryland.
Maryland.
There we go.
Maryland Terps.
How do you say that turtle thing?
Maryland Terrapin.
Okay, I just was curious.
Maryland Terrapins. Terrapins. Turtles. I ain't fighting turtles. Anyway, Maryland, the way Maryland did it was interesting in that if you're from Maryland, that's great. That's awesome logos. But if you're not from Maryland, the black and yellow flag logo doesn't do it for you, right? You're not going to be like, I look cool if you're like, I'm in another state's flag. Oregon didn't roll out the Oregon State flag as a motif. They wore, we are wearing uniforms so bright they blow out television screens. But it's a unique look. It was different. It was forward thinking. It was progressive. It was a good look. It's a good look. And about the time that they did that, what did they do? They created a new culture. They created something that was different. They created something that stood out. They created something that was unique. And in the process, they created a place that recruits wanted to go, wanted to be a part of something that was unique and new and different. Now, we've seen a lot of other schools that have started to kind of pick up that process. Oregon doesn't really stand out, and what happened to them? Now, all of a sudden, the recruiting's fallen down. They also made a couple of botches on hires of head coaches. Willie Taggart. That didn't go well. And on top of that, when they finally did find one, Mario Cristobal, soon as he got that team on the upward trajectory, where'd he go? Right back to Miami. Why? Because Miami is on the way back. Why is Miami on the way back? And why was Mario Cristobal excited about going there? Because Miami has a culture. I don't like the culture. It's a bad culture. But if that culture is an appeal to you, then you want to be a part of Miami. And Mario Cristobal realized, I will be more impactful recruiting with the culture that the Miami Hurricanes have built over the years than the culture that the Oregon Ducks have built, even with Phil Knight's money behind them.
Weather has to factor in there, though, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Part of the culture, right? What is the culture? When I say Miami, what do you think of?
Sunshine.
Beaches.
Yes.
Hot chicks. Live music. Good food. And if you're a Miami fan, Emphasis on duh.
And when you think of Oregon, you think rain,
Yeah.
overcast.
And listen, maybe mountains and coastline and all that's appealing to you. Maybe, I mean, if you're...
And I hear tell there's a trail there somewhere.
There is, well, it's a long one. Played it in a video game one time. If you're coming out of high school and hiking in the forest is your thing, Oregon's got it for you. If you're coming out of high school, though, let's be real. Unless you're Zoe, what is going to attract you more as a high school senior? Sunshine, beaches, and scantily clad women, or hiking in a forest in the rain?
I don't know.
Even if you're Lonzo,
So,
Miami sounds better.
Why am I the exception there? If Miami was recruiting, I'm going there.
Yeah. As soon as I thought about that, I'm like, nope, that's even better. Let's be real here. There's a culture at Miami that Oregon can't replicate. When Oregon started with the dumb uniforms that everybody made fun of, it didn't matter. Because it doesn't matter if you like them. It doesn't matter if I like them. What matters is, do the recruits like them? And for a while, the recruits loved it. It was different. It was unique. They stood out. They got to be a part of something that was unlike anything else in college football. And it worked for a while. But then they had some bad hires. They had some bad decisions. And now, bright highlighter green uniforms, that ain't enough anymore. Miami, on the other hand, has something that is enough. Sun, beach, beautiful women, South Beach. That's always going to be enough. The football team could have the worst coach in D1 football, and they would still get recruits because Miami's awesome. I've said for many years, outside of history, there's no reason that Miami should not out-recruit Florida State and Florida. Have you been to Gainesville? I have. You know what's in Gainesville? A football stadium, a couple of pita pits, and that's pretty much it. I've been to Tallahassee. Tallahassee's a little bit better than Gainesville because it's got the state capital of Florida, so there's a little bit more going on, but unless you're interested in that, Tallahassee ain't it either. If you ask me if I wanted to live in Tallahassee or South Beach or Gainesville or South Beach, I'm going to South Beach all the time.
I would say, I hate to interrupt, but we know that's not true. What is a pita pit? Is it a restaurant?
Yeah, it's like a Chipotle, but they only do pitas.
Okay.
Like pita pockets.
Okay.
You ever had a pita?
Yeah, I know what a pita is. Yeah.
It's like Chipotle except only pitas. It's pretty good. I haven't had I don't know. Do you guys have pita pits here?
Yeah, I'm not well, I don't believe so, which is the reason why I asked, because I don't think I've ever heard of that before, but I'm not anti-pita. I like to, all right, as far as the, is it a bread? It's kind of like,
Apparently there was a pita pit downtown, but it is now permanently closed, which is too bad. Any other pita pits around here? Does anybody know where there's a pita pit? Text me at 71307.
So is this is a pretty big franchise then?
Oh, yeah.
It's all over the
it's
place?
all across South.
Huh.
Pita Pit's delicious. I used to Pita Pit in Tallahassee. I used to live on Pita Pit down there. I used to live down there. Now that being said, in Gainesville, like I said, you got a football stadium, you got like 2 good bars, and you got a couple of Pita Pits, and that's pretty much the attraction there. What attracts you to Gainesville is the Florida Gator football program, which Billy Napier has to resurrect that culture if he wants to get back to what Florida was when Herb was there. When Herb was there, people didn't come to Florida because they loved Gainesville or they loved the Gators. You know what kids who came to Florida for Urban Meyer loved? Winning. That's what they loved. And you had a chance to win at Florida, unlike most other schools. That can be your culture. Miami's always had good recruits. But since JJ left in the, early 90s, Miami didn't recruit kids by going, come to the U and you'll win. They recruited kids by going, come to South Beach. Because live music, great Cuban food, scantily clad women, and also you can play some football while you're down here. And Uncle Luke will give you the old $500 handshake every now and then, allegedly. That's why kids went to South Beach. If Miami ever returns to being a good football program, they'll be able to kill
I don't think
Florida
it's
and Florida
allegedly.
State.
There's like a 30 for 30 about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Uncle Luke. if Miami ever gets back in contention, even just for the ACC title, which a lot of people think they might this year, a lot of people think Mario Cristobal's got that team back in contention. If Miami ever gets back to contention, even if it's just for the conference up front, as it stands right now, Miami should be able to kill Florida and Florida State in recruiting and in football because Florida State can't recruit on winning right now. And Gainesville ain't exactly a hot spot to bring kids to. Tallahassee, pardon me. Florida ain't exactly winning right now, and Gainesville ain't exactly a cool college town. South Beach is. So if Cristobal does indeed bring Miami back to where they're winning football games, Miami should out-recruit Florida and Florida State every day of the week and twice on Sunday until one of those teams figure out how to win again with lesser talent. Then they'll have a crack at it. Nobody invited you to the chat, Zach Brown. Noted Miami fan.
By the way, I hope you're right, because that means another school around here will not be winning. So I'm good with that.
My man Zach Brown popping into the chat. Noted Miami fan checking in to say Miami will run the table. See, they got Bethune-Cookman, Southern Miss. Hey, Zach, September 17th, you're at Texas A&M, buddy. I wouldn't count that particular Aggie before it hatches.
So if they win that game, would you be more favorable of them actually doing what he's saying they'll
Middle
do?
Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Duke, Virginia, Florida State, Georgia Tech. Ooh, you're at Clemson this year, buddy. You're coming to the upstate.
Yeah, but everyone knows Clemson's down this year. They lost their defensive coordinator. They're not certain at quarterback. I mean, this is the year to get them for sure.
Miami's 10-2 at the end of the year. Miami's 10-2.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. Miami's got 2 losses. A&M is 1. And if it ain't Clemson, they'll drop one somewhere. But I think Miami's 10-2. I'll take A&M and Clemson. We'll see, Zach Brown. He said, haven't heard a loss leave your lips yet, buddy. All right, man. I got it. Hey, September 17th, Zach Brown. On September 16th, I need you checking into the show because we might have an on-air bet. Rob Brown versus Zach Brown. My band versus your band, pal.
I knew you had to go there eventually.
I couldn't figure out how to get there. That's the best I could come up with. Rob versus Zach. Battle of the Browns. Aggies versus Canes. And by the way, you know I can't stand A&M. But I can't. Zach, I love you, dog. I can't stand Miami either. I was in Florida too long. Can't stand a hurricane. Zach's my only hurricane friend. He said, put it on the calendar. All right, big dog. See you September 16th. Lock it in the phone. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, I got a couple more stories I want to get, but either someone in Seattle goofed up bad or there's a really optimistic Seahawks fan, but a mistake was made. And it may impact the Carolina Panthers. I'll tell you what that is when we come back. Texter said there was a pita pit in downtown Clemson. I don't know if it's still there. I think it is. I think I saw it last time I was in Clemson. I think it is. Texter says there was a pita pit on Main Street. It closed and was replaced with tropical chicken. I have not had a tropical chicken, but I do miss a pita pit.
What makes a chicken tropical? Do they fly it in from?
Yeah, man. It's like a Bahamian chicken. You know? A Dominican
Is that
chicken.
like a Bohemian chicken?
Yeah. Like a Dominican chicken. All right, coming back after this, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate.
So I would have enjoyed hearing this conversation when we were having the cookout like a week or so ago.
Oh. I like Zach. Zach's good people. That's why I won't talk to him about his football team in person. I
I'll
like him
say
too
that
much.
that might have kept me down there a little bit
We'll make him
longer.
too much.
Yeah. Still haven't figured out what those one things were he made that were spicy, that looked like hamburgers, but they weren't hamburgers. But you said you thought
They were
weren't.
veggie burgers.
They were veggie
Yeah,
burgers.
Zach can attest. I believe.
This
they
is
were
so
veggie
maybe
burgers.
they just put the extra spice to make up for the fact that there was no meat, but it was good.
Hey, I've had some veggie burgers that could have fooled me.
I'm not anti-veggie burger unless it's from a certain place down the street that it's a fast food chain, and afterwards the effects were not good for me or some other people on the show. Yeah, because if you said pizza is awful, I'll just cut your spot right now. Mark Ryan's absolutely right. Rob Brown is wrong. Baker Mayfield doesn't look like a jerk as he's doing his football camp for little kids.
He's not a jerk.
He's been painted in that light. Don't worry. When I hear about all this extra stuff that you're doing all the time, and I think about, if I was younger, would I have done all that? No, because I'm boring. It has nothing to do with my age. I'm just boring. I just don't want to go do all that stuff.
I love everybody. Like, I love doing it, and I love all the stuff that I'm doing. But I will tell you, there are also days that I get home from doing all of that stuff, and I'm like,
it's going to catch up to you eventually.
it catches up about every 2 weeks. I have a day where I'm like,
wait till October.
oh, I know.
October, it's going to be rough.
I know. There's a better than average.
I'm saving up
chance.
my energy because you're going to need some.
It's a better than average chance that end of September to early October, I'm working 7 days a week.
Right.
For about 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks.
You're going to burn out. Except on payday.
But, Lonzo, I'm trying to make something of myself, buddy.
No, I know. I appreciate your
Trying to make
tenacity,
something
your
of
work
myself.
ethic, all that stuff. I wasn't necessarily talking about the work stuff. I'm talking about the extracurricular.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. But if I'm not doing that stuff, the work stuff's not worth it.
Because, by the way,
right?
if the work stuff was available for me, I'd be doing that too.
Yeah.
So
I don't work to be able to work more. I work so that I can do fun stuff on the side. Work is a part of what I do. It is not who I am.
some would say, Rob, that you and I don't have a job. So I mean,
They are very wrong.
Yeah, well.
Very wrong.
That's my plan, Steven. I haven't bought tickets yet, though. I'll probably need to check into that, though. Thor comes out next week.
I was like, what's coming out next Thursday?
Probably should check because IMAX sells out quicker than anything.
Yeah.
That would be a good movie in IMAX, even if it's not shot in IMAX, just to see the goats that big on the screen.
I come from the land of the ice and snow with the midnight sun.
Wow.
Can't wait.
I had no idea, what the first lyrics of that was until now.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Texas says tropical chicken grill is great. It's Cuban-style rice bean chicken, etc. I love Cuban food.
Okay.
Love
All
Cuban
right.
food. Love Cuban food. There's a little Cuban restaurant on Folly Beach, in just outside of Charleston, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But every time we go to Charleston, the lady friend will drive out of our way to go there because they have phenomenal Cuban food. So I'll check that out. Texture said the agent works for Freddie. It was his call. Not to mention he signed with the Dodgers. All old school Braves fans hate the Dodgers from when and then their text got cut off. I apologize. I lost it, but I get what you're saying. Braves fans aren't Dodgers fans. We don't like the Dodgers at all. It's part of the reason that winning the World Series and going through the Dodgers to do it last year was so damn sweet for Bravos fans. But here's the thing. I know that Freddie is wearing being in LA like an albatross around his neck, right? Like, I know it's killing Freddie. You could see it this weekend.
It's really
killing
hurting
Freddie.
him when he's going and cashing those checks.
Which
just
are
don't
smaller than the checks he would have gotten in
Okay,
Atlanta.
all right.
Right?
Okay.
They are. As of right now. It may not ultimately be at the end of the contract, depending on how the deferred payments work out. That may not stay that way. Listen.
I'm not happy to be here. Did you just keep your money until I can go back home?
Lonzo, you said during the break there, some people would say that you and I don't have real jobs. And they are both correct and not correct at the same time. I don't know about you. I enjoy being here. I get here at 7 o'clock in the morning, not because I want to be awake and at work at 7 a.m. I promise you I don't. I get here at 7 a.m. because I like being here. I like my job. It's fun. But if tomorrow the boss man came in and said, hey, we got to dock your pay $10 an hour, I would not be happy to be here anymore.
If he said that to you, then you'd be making as much as I do.
Shut up. Shut up. Freddie can be bummed he's not a Brave, even if he's still very, very rich. All right? Money ain't everything. It is most of things, but it ain't everything. Freddie is bummed, I'm sure. And his agents screwed him. And we know that now.
I am offended that you did ask, you don't know if I love my job or not. How long have I been here? It's not like I've a prison sentence or something,
Correct. Correct.
Like to get out in
It
2
was-
more years.
I
No.
needed to set up a point.
Okay, all right.
Texter says, Freddie's agent tried to mess with Alex Anthopoulos and failed miserably. Yup, he sure did. He played poker with Anth, and Anth called the bluff. And when Anth called the bluff, he ran out of options. Anth was like, all right, dude, I'm not doing that. And we got an option for another dude out there. Take your job and shove it. You don't work here anymore. All right. Let me get this in here real quick because I teased it. And if there's one thing, Lonzo, that I cannot stand, it's a radio host who makes a tease and doesn't pay it off.
Oh, I completely agree because I would never do such a thing, ever.
So a very eagle-eyed NFL fan noticed something that popped up for just a couple of minutes on the Seattle Seahawks online shop the other day. If you're not watching the stream right now, this is one of those times where you'd like to be watching the stream because I'm about to share it with you. Take a look at that, Lonzo. Showing on the screen right now. Would you like to describe what is on the screen right now?
It would require my glasses.
Oh, I got you. Okay. We need to move that monitor closer to you.
Okay, now I see. I can see it from the big
Oh, it's on
screen.
the big screen now.
Yeah. Men's Nike Baker Mayfield College Navy Seattle Seahawks game jersey
Yes, indeed.
for only $129.
The low, low price
Yes.
of $129. Yours can be a Baker Mayfield Seattle Seahawks game jersey.
Act now, and we'll throw in a Russell Wilson throwback because we've got a bunch of them.
And they got to go. Taking up too much space. How about that? So that means one of 2 or 3 things has happened. It means either A, there's a really optimistic Seattle Seahawks fan that is running the merch store and is like, #influencer, question mark? Like, maybe I can make this happen. Maybe
Or
if I throw up the jersey.
Was running the merch store.
Was running the merch
Yes.
store. Thought maybe if I throw up the jersey, I get people a little bit excited about it. They'll be like, oh, people are excited at this point. If I pop this up there and we sell out of Baker Mayfield Seahawks jerseys that don't exist yet, maybe Pete Carroll will pull the trigger and get this damn thing done.
So we haven't seen the email or the posting that we apologize, we've been hacked, which is the way around that.
Not yet. Not yet, we haven't. The official Seattle Seahawks Twitter handle has not said anything about it yet to their 2.5 million followers. So, I do find it interesting that when I went to the Seahawks account, you know how it gives you the like who to follow suggestions? You know who the first one under Seattle's who to follow suggestions is?
Baker Mayfield.
Russ Wilson.
Okay, all right. That's still pretty funny.
Russ, KING 5 News out of Seattle. That's actually a dope call sign. KING. And Cam Chancellor. Anyway, Seattle has not referenced it. It has been since pulled off of the shop, but for a hot minute, you could buy a Seattle Seahawks Baker Mayfield game jersey. Now, the question's going to be, as it was reported last week, that the Seahawks are still interested in Baker Mayfield, and we've now found out that the Browns are willing to come up to just shy of paying half of Bake's contract. Does this mean that something is on the way? Does this mean that this deal is almost already done? Or was this just a goof? Was this just a mistake? I got to tell you, as we've talked about in the past, the NFL makes a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. Like, a lot of mistakes. Thanks. Didn't need everybody seeing my Twitter feed.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Follow me on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show, and you can see what I just showed to my entire stream.
Wasn't anything bad.
Thankfully.
There again, I can't
Twitter.
read it from here, so maybe.
Follow me on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show. Follow Lonzo on Twitter at Lonzo on Word. Anyway. The NFL makes a lot of mistakes. We're watching those mistakes continue to play out with the the Deshaun Watson situation. There is usually one place that the NFL does not make mistakes, and that one place is anywhere that it generates revenue, yeah? Anywhere that they generate revenue, the NFL is usually pretty on top of the game. So for there to randomly pop up a Baker Mayfield Seattle Seahawks jersey leads me to believe the gears are not beginning to turn. The gears have been turned. They've been turned. And Bake is going to be a Seahawk. Now, obviously, that impacts the Carolina Panthers greatly. Because if Bake is a Hawk, he can't be a Panther. And if he can't be a Panther, that means you got 2 options on the table. Sam Darnold rides again, or you cough up $24 to $27-ish million for Jimmy Garoppolo. Those are the options. And by the way, my dude, Jimmy G, is back in the news because Martellus Bennett and Julian Edelman, a couple of guys who used to run in the silver and blue when Jimmy G was playing in place of an injured Tommy B, are calling Jimmy Garoppolo a bleep. Because Jimmy G had a busted up tendon in his non-throwing shoulder. And after practicing all week to get ready for a game in week 4 the year he was filling in for Tom Brady, who was injured at the time, Jimmy Garoppolo decided not to play. So who started? Jacoby Brissett, who, by the way, had a busted tendon in the thumb on his throwing hand. So Jimmy G, with a strained tendon in his non-throwing shoulder, sat and made Jacoby Brissett with a tendon injury in his throwing thumb play. Marty B called Jimmy Garoppolo every bad name in the book. And then Edelman came in and they were like, yo, Julian, do you agree with Marty B? And Julian was like, yup, sure do. And now a lot of people are questioning Jimmy G. Is this a guy you want leading your team, even if he has been to an NFC Championship
Wow.
game?
So guys on the Patriots team, that well-known establishment of honesty and all things that on the up and up, are saying something bad about a person, and immediately we're supposed to believe it.
I mean, Marty B went in pretty hard on his podcast. Like, pretty hard on his podcast.
Well, you know, as Patrick Mahomes would say, he's just trying to get people to listen to his podcast.
Maybe. Hey, real quick, before we take a break, I want to play you a little bit of sound. And I want to play you a little bit of sound. I'm not rushing to it.
No. I thought you were going to try to play it over there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, I have the sound.
Yeah.
You were looking at your computer, and we don't want to send people into the echo chamber.
Let me tell you why I think the Seattle thing is done for Bake. Give me clip 1. Baker Mayfield was asked to his face point blank, Deshaun might sit. Is there a chance that you find your way to reconciliation with the Browns? And here's what he had to say.
I mean, is it a little unfair that you still don't kind of know where you're going or what's going to be happening?
I think I got frustrated with it not happening before, like mini camp and all those things. But that's the stuff that's out of my control. And so, let those things happen and fall into place. And so right now I'm just controlling what I can and enjoying this.
Would there be any chance of reconciliation there?
No, I think for that to happen, there would have to be some reaching out. But we're ready to move on, I think, on both sides.
Take this job and shove it. I don't work here anymore.
So where the pessimist, Rob, would look at it and see no possibilities, the optimist, me, would say it would take he said it would take some reaching out. That's not an impossibility. That's it would take some reaching out. He didn't say no, never, I will not do that. He said it would take some reaching out, which means there's a chance.
Better not try to stand in my way as I'm walking out the door. Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.
I was going to say we have
Johnny Paycheck.
We have a no paycheck policy here, but
no, we don't.
Yeah.
No, we do not. No, sir. We do not have a no Johnny Paycheck policy. We absolutely do not.
We do have control of the faders and the buttons.
So you have a no Johnny Paycheck policy that I do not subscribe to. Anyway,
it was a wonderful rendition, by the way.
Thanks. Worked on it for literally seconds. That is the polite PC way to flip them the bird.
So you didn't hear the part where he said it would take some reaching out.
Yeah.
Did you just ignore that part?
No. Who do you think would have to do the reaching out there?
Cleveland.
Correct. Do you think Cleveland's going to do the reaching out now?
I don't know.
And
we've seen weirder things happen before. I'm not going to rule it completely out.
Do you know what Bake just said? I'll come back. Kiss the ring. Get on your knees and kiss the ring. Every great medieval movie has the scene where they tell the guy, get on your knee and kiss the ring. And either the bad guy makes the good guy do it to humiliate him, or the good guy doesn't do it, stabs the bad guy, and becomes Robin Hood.
All right.
It's your pick.
So
Bake said, get on your knees and kiss the ring, and I'll think about it.
Cleveland obviously makes really good choices about everything. So you're saying it would surprise you if they didn't go, you know what, we screwed up, we're sorry. We could use you for at least a year. We know you're not going to be here afterwards, but just come on in.
You ever said anything that the only way out of the situation is to openly and publicly admit you were really wrong about something, it's hard to do.
Daily on this program.
The Cleveland Browns said publicly, we would like an adult to come play quarterback. It is not just about reaching out to Baker. It's about doing so very publicly and issuing a humiliating apology. Hey, sorry we called you immature. Sorry we called you a kid. But then the decisions that we made, by the way, which they did before they went and got Deshaun Watson, right? This was pre-Deshaun. They called Baker immature and a child. We want an adult to come do this. You've got to apologize and make that right. But based on the Browns and how they're handling this Deshaun situation, do you think they're going to be able to come back and make that right?
The Browns were doing everything that the fans had wanted them to do for a really long time, including having Baker Mayfield there. People were coming back to the Browns. The Browns are finally good and everything, and then
then what?
Then they went back to being the Browns.
Yup. So do you think the Browns, knowing that Bake's the best opportunity they have, is going to, I'll tell you this, if Deshaun gets less than a year, ain't no way Baker's coming back. Because he's damn sure not coming back to play 8 and then get benched.
No, I agree. But if it's a year, it still wouldn't shock me if they reached out.
If
doesn't mean
grovels.
doesn't mean Baker would say yes. But the satisfaction is them reaching out.
I want Baker to go, you want me back? On your knees, kiss the ring. I want the Browns to do it, and then Baker the next day go, nah, Seattle's cool. Charlotte sounds amazing. Later, clowns. Just punk them on the way out the door. Texture says, if Watson is out for a year and Baker plays for the Browns, I'm pulling for the Browns to win the Super Bowl as a slap in Cleveland's face. No, because I don't want Cleveland to win a Super Bowl. Sorry.
Well, same here. I want to, as I said, I think it was yesterday, I want him every press conference coming in and saying, hey, you guys know I don't want to be here, but I'm above all the pettiness of this organization. I'm here for the fans. This organization sucks. And say it every single Sunday, knowing there's nothing they can do about it other than benching them.
May I fantasy book how this works in my head? Bake goes, kiss the ring. The Browns do it. Bake leads them to an AFC championship game and quits on Saturday night. Quits on Saturday night. Good luck, Jacoby. Just to rub it in more. I'd love it. I love it. That's how you MJF them. That's how you petty them, and I'd be here for it. All right, let me take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, I got one more soundbite to play that's completely unsports related, but it is an amazing soundbite. And then we got Twitter trending topics to wrap up Friday. Sorry, Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right?
Yeah, all day.
I'm short-circuiting over here. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Struggle's real, y'all. The struggle is real.
I don't know what happened to Thursday, but it's Friday now for some reason.
Forget Thursday. We skipped the back half of Wednesday.
Yeah, well.
You know, the day it is.
Depends on when your workday ends. If your workday ends after the show's over, I mean, you know.
It doesn't. I wish it did. That'd be awesome if it did.
I don't know if that looks like chili. It almost looks like, well, the canned stuff, which I guess is still chili. I still don't know how it's
Hot
chili.
dog wrap with chili.
I still don't understand how it's chili without beans, but you know.
I have seen no bean chili,
Yeah.
and I've seen no beef chili, and I don't understand either
Yeah,
one.
okay. No beef chili.
I can
that's
understand no beef chili to some degree.
Just, it's just bean soup.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, that's all it is. Bean soup.
yeah. Kenny's the best. I'm going to go clip 3 here. Final segment of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. I came across this clip this morning, and I want to play it for you for a couple of reasons. Number one, it stars 2 of my favorite actors in the game right now. It stars, obviously, Marissa Tomei, and it stars Oscar Isaac. Moon Knight / a bunch of Star Wars stuff / a bunch of other really good movies that are coming. By the way, Oscar Isaac, my man busted on the scene, has become a legend in the past couple of years. Played Poe in the Star Wars sequels. And then obviously played Moon Knight. Played 3 different characters in Moon Knight. And by the way, did a great job with Moon Knight, I thought.
Absolutely, he did.
He killed it. Anyway, Marissa Tomei is talking to Oscar Isaacson. And Oscar lays down some wisdom for life. Here was the conversation I stumbled upon between Marissa Tomei and Oscar Isaacson.
Without love to look for, without sex, at least, there's nothing.
There's pizza.
That's it. That's the clip. Aunt May says, without love to look forward to, without sex at least, there's nothing. And Oscar Isaacson replies, there's pizza, which is the perfect response. Now,
Absolutely, especially on a Wednesday when we always get pizza. So I'm, it makes me look forward to pizza tonight.
Yeah, it's great. I love all 3 of those things, but if you're not getting the first or the second, pizza's a pretty damn good third option when it comes down to it. All right? It just is.
What if there's no pizza, though?
Then there's nothing to live for. Now,
But you can make pizza out of just about anything. If you got a little flour.
I made pizza out of tortillas and ground beef, beans, queso cheese, tomato sauce. Yeah, it was spectacular. Now, I have since learned, Lonzo, and this did dampen it a little bit, but I wanted you to experience what I experienced when I heard that clip this morning, and I was like, that's magic. Apparently that came during the COVID lockdown because one of the ways that people were passing time is they were doing dramatic readings of like different plays and stuff. They were having famous actors come on and do readings of screenplays and whatnot over Zoom. The cast of Parks and Rec did it with a couple of episodes, etc. And apparently that was from a play that Oscar Isaacson and Marissa Tomei did together, and that was a line from the play. But before I remembered that, or before I found that out, I should say, before I found that out, when I came across that clip this morning, I was like, dude, Oscar Isaacson is now he's officially my hero, right? Without love, there is nothing to live for, at least not without sex. Well, there's pizza. I immediately was like, this is the coolest guy in Hollywood.
So now the writer of the play needs to be your hero.
100%.
Whoever wrote it.
Whoever came up with that line is a brilliant, brilliant person. Brilliant person, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I loved it. It was spectacular. Texas says, glad to hear Lonzo finally admits he's been wrong every day about Clemson.
That's not what I said, but, you know.
Had to hang on to something. You know what, Lonzo, I don't care that it's 2 minutes early.
I just want to point out that for the majority of the time when I'm talking about Clemson, I'm talking about you people. I'm not talking about the team. How many times did I praise Clemson today and how dominant they are in the ACC? Yes.
Like 4 times.
Because the team's really good, or they have been. We'll see what happens this year. And that's just speculation that should be out there because of the things they've lost. Anyway.
Oh, there's a lot more to go.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
When you're known for something, I was told by a great radio professional as slamming something, all the positive, they don't hear that. They only hear the negative. So be who you are, and who I am is someone you don't like. And I'm fine with that. All right, it's time for Twitter Trending Topics. The first thing that's trending is Cheez-It.
Cheez-It. First off, let me just say this before we talk about why they're trending. Cheez-It duos have come out with some bangers, but the bacon cheddar duo is a game changer in the Cheez-It world. Game changer in the Cheez-It world. That being said, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's called. But I saw this morning that apparently Taco Bell is making some sort of Cheez-It-based Mexican food.
It's a tostado.
Okay.
And what they're doing, if you look at the picture, you should look up the picture. You got time to look up the picture.
All right, I'll look it up before we go to the
There
next
is a giant Cheez-It in the middle of it. It's not like a bunch of Cheez-Its. It's like this real giant Cheez-It, and then they put the toppings around it and then put the wrap around it.
Okay, so this thing looks like, for those of you that are not too ashamed to admit that you eat Taco Bell somewhat regularly, it looks like it's a Crunchwrap Supreme.
They get a bad rap because people think it's cool to say it, and they still eat it.
Dude,
yeah, come on.
You give me 3 or 4 Jack and Diets, and that Uber driver's making a Taco Bell.
Although
stop
I will say that the Mexican pizza coming back a little bit disappointing. At least the one I had wasn't as good as they used to be.
That's why I learned to make one at the house the other day.
Yeah.
Came out great. It's a Crunchwrap Supreme with one big ass Cheez-It right in the middle. It's not like I thought it was gonna be like a layer of Cheez-It.
Yeah.
It's one big damn Cheez-It.
Here's what I want.
Spectacular.
I just want that Cheez-It.
Yeah.
I mean, just put like 3 in a box. I'll buy that.
So it replaces the internal tostada shell with a giant Cheez-It packed with all the usual ingredients, including ground beef, nacho cheese, sauce, lettuce, tomatoes, and sour cream. However, it is only available at one restaurant in Irvine, California for the next 2 weeks. So it's going to be a long road trip to come up with a giant cheese at tostada.
Well, they're test marketing it, and which is what restaurants do. And if it takes off and it sells really well, this thing probably will sell out. Then they'll move it everywhere.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a fan of spice, the spicy Cheez-Its are also really good.
So one thing Taco Bell has done, they've taken two, arguably, in my opinion, of the best crunchy snacks of all time, Cheez-Its and Doritos.
The Doritos Locos Taco is all-timer. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, beans on a pizza, no wonder the Sex Panther doesn't know what goes on a hot dog. Listen, it was a Mexican pizza. Because Taco Bell has Mexican pizza, the lady friend has been trying for weeks to get a Mexican pizza. And every time she hits up the bell and runs for the border, they're sold out of the Mexican pizza. It's like as soon as they get them, they're immediately sold out. So I, being a good boyfriend, taught myself to make a homemade Mexican pizza for her, and that's what I did.
By the way, Texter, didn't Scooby-Doo and Shaggy teach you anything? You could put anything on a pizza.
Including pineapple.
And beans. All right, the next thing that's trending is Rick Astley.
First off, Rick Astley is hilarious. Oh, I didn't tell you this yet, and this is better than why Rick Astley's trending.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
I bought a T-shirt the other day that I'll have in a couple of weeks that has a QR code on the front of it, right? If you scan the QR code, your phone just starts playing Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley.
That's pretty cool. This has something to do with it. He showed up at a big time Rush concert. He just come out and they Rick-rolled the entire crowd.
Love it. I saw him do that at a Foo Fighters concert a couple of years ago. I didn't see him do it. I saw a video on the internet where Rick Astley came up in the midst of a Foo Fighters song, and they just rolled the song into a Rick roll.
Oh, that's just great. Finally, Terry McLaurin is
Hey, look at that, a sports tweeter. Terry McLaurin has signed a contract with the Washington Commanders. What a great time to become a Washington Commander, eh, Terry?
3-year extension, $71 million, former Buckeye.
Ching. Cha-ching. Hey, man. Money. Get that paper, young man. That's it for us. Jim Rum's got you in the jungle next. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel with Offsides coming up at 3 o'clock. Hope you enjoyed the show half as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you, which is, of course, a lot. We're back tomorrow to do it all over again. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob, and you are listening to, at least for the next few months, the best damn sports show in the state of South Carolina. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
All right, you're going to make people think that we're going away. We're not going away. I mean, gosh. I'm going to change my name to Disclaimer.